This podcast is brought to you by Udemy, a leading destination for learning and teaching online. Need to learn professional skills for your career? Join millions of people learning the latest skills in business and tech on Udemy. With our Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales, now's the smartest time to shop with courses as low as $9.99. Visit udemy.com and shop now. Sale ends Monday, November 28th.
When you drive the brand ranked #1 in dependability by J.D. Power, you can stop thinking about what you can't do and start doing what you never thought possible. Visit your local Kia dealer today to see yourself behind the wheel of the brand ranked #1 in dependability by J.D. Power. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Always drive safely. Kia received the fewest reported problems among all brands in the J.D. Power 2022 U.S. Vehicle Dependability Study based on 2019 models. See jdpower.com/awards for 2022 details.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hey, folks. Welcome to One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here with Matt Bristow. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Just wrapping up this long weekend of wrestling between all these great shows and podcasts. Lots of stuff to get to. So let's do it, man.
Yeah. Just for obviously, like if you go to Rich's Twitch stream and you see the post of this, like we did this in reverse. Like we did the Historic Crossover part first, and now we're doing the Gold Rush 2022 part now, but like, you know, if you listen to the podcast, it's going to be chronological order, flipped back where like I ended up watching Historic Crossover today, and it ran late, so like we already had the time set for meeting with the Keepin It Strong Style guys, and like they were able to delay for an hour, but they can't be doing that for that long, so like we're just doing it in reverse this way. So anyway, you watched all of Rich, you watched all of Gold Rush 2022, right?
I saw, let's see, what did I not see?
Yeah, that's a better question. What did you not see?
I did not see the Moneyball tournament, semifinal matches, or the tag league matches.
Okay, so you saw the title matches in the TLC match.
Yep.
Okay, so I will,
and the high speed match with Izumi and
the opener. Okay,
3-way. Yep.
Okay, so what 3-way? The pre-show?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, I thought this show was damn good. Like, I mean, you're kind of right. Like, we did get 3 great shows this weekend. I don't recall ever doing that before. We've watched 3 shows from one weekend and were all great. But yeah, we ended up getting it. So, this show, is very similar to last year's show. Also, that was at Osaka Eating Arena 2, or sorry, Osaka Eating Arena 1. Last year's show was the same show that had the turn where the faction match where Queen's Quest, Oedo Tai, Momo, as you mentioned later in the show, ends up going to Oedo Tai. But also on that show weren't title matches, 3 title matches, but there was a 4-person trios. 4-team trios tournament that involved a ladder match, and then this year they decided to spruce it up. Both were for cash prizes. I think they were both the same amount, 10 million yen. This time decided to, instead of making it an elimination ladder match, they made it a TLC match. So let's just get into it. The pre-show match, you had Stars, Ida and Kogo versus Queen's Quest, Lady C and Miyu Amasaki versus Oedo Tai's, Natsuko Tora, and Roaka in a three-way tag match. You said you watched this match.
I did. It was cool. It was just.
It's not like it was a bad match. I just wonder what made you decide to say, let me just go with this one.
So I was like, I guess I watched this out of order. So I watched Historic Crossover first, and I watched the entire show, just straight through. So I was kind of like trying to do that same thing, but I had some stuff come up during the day. So
5-hour show, the first thing, like, fuck, like, you're just done. Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to start from the beginning. And, I thought Tora and Rock actually worked together pretty well.
They did. Yeah. It's a good match. At the end, the sides from Oedo Tai overwhelmed the other two teams, and Natsuko ended up catching Kogo with a Death Valley bomb. I ended up giving it three flat stars. I thought it was good.
Shout out to Vel Kedge, Natsuko Tora representing for him.
Yeah, the people you hate and the people you like, it's like, whoa, what's going on here? But whatever. But then again, it makes sense because like Tam and Natsuko used to be a rivalry, and then it's like how much of the rivalry is a hammer and a nail. But yeah, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I never really thought about it before, but now that I'm thinking about it, that makes a ton of sense. We don't figure you out, Vel Kedge. We figure you out. You just bitter. See what happens when you go down with your faves? Going down bad with your faves. Anyway, so the main card starts, and it is a high-speed match. Zumi's back in the in the opening spot that she made. She had stamped out some real estate for herself earlier on in the pay-per-view Stardom
this was
era.
A pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
I was like, "What's Azumi doing here?"
Yeah, so high-speed match versus outsider Momoka Hanazona. She is a comedy wrestler mostly. She most of her interactions in Stardom have been in New Blood, doing funny stuff, often teaming with Waka, often losing, obviously, but she has flash signs of this kind of ability, and gave her a shot, obviously, trying to spread out the high speed stuff, given that the roster kind of is stale in that division. So I thought this was a worthy title defense. Very good match. Ultimately, at the end, Azumi ends up winning with Azumi Sushi. After Hanazona rolled out the first one, Azumi ended up redoubling her effort and getting her the second time around. This is, opener, 3.5 stars, standard high speed stuff, fun stuff. Started silly at the beginning, but then it picked up, and Hanazona, obviously, I thought, she's a sleeper. Very, very similar to the Fukigen Death or Mei Suruga stuff. Definitely not at the level of the Mei Suruga match, but the same thing of Azumi is kind of the serious wrestler playing the straight man and kind of getting put off balance by the shenanigans, and how does she overcome that? And I guess the answer is always just more speed. So another really good defense in the high speed belt with Azumi, and I don't know what's next, but she just can't miss in a high speed match situation.
Yeah, I thought the closing sequence to this was really on the edge of your seat type stuff here.
Yeah. So second match, the first semifinal of the trios tournament, you have Cosmic Angels, Tam, Natsupoi, and Waka versus Donna Del Mondo, Julia, Tekla, and Mai. So
actually, I did watch this.
Oh, okay. So this match was very much like it is the Tam and Natsupoi show, and we were going to put Waka in just for the very end. And I thought they did well with it. You had a Julia and Tam exchange that was great. You had Tekla and Natsupoi doing their high speed stuff that was great.
Man, Tekla's got a point to prove. It's like every time she's in, I think she impressed me more.
Yeah, I mean, Tekla's who I want to get the high speed belt after Azumi. but like I think she's done very well, and I think I liked her challenge with Azumi more than you did, but I really enjoyed the hell out of it. But back in, I think that was May. But yeah, ultimately you end up getting Mai in there with Waka. They give Waka some near falls, get the crowd thinking that she's going to catch Mai, but then Waka gets triple teamed, I believe, and then Mai hits her with a move. There's one last gasp kick out, and then I believe there's a top rope elbow drop, and Mai finished her with a flying elbow drop. I ended up giving this match 3 stars. They moved around, but it was short. And that was the case for, generally speaking, when they do these semifinal matches in this kind of thing. Now, just 2 years of it, it's like they kind of zoom by this stuff. It's supposed to give you a proper, 10, 12-minute thing. But I ended up giving it 3 stars. The next match was Mayu Hazuki, and Kaguma versus Mirai, Ami, and Tomoka Inaba from God's Eye. And they played off of the the Grand Prix match between Hazuki and Ami at one point, where that match was one of the better matches of the tournament, and it was basically like Ami is kind of coming into her own, but Hazuki is like putting in like just an insane amount of effort to make sure she looks great. And they were playing off of that at points in the match, but ultimately Hazuki ends up like she's on the rope, she's about to get caught and hit with a blue thunder bomb, or actually a Gonzo bomb. And Hazuki wiggles out, hits Hazuki Strong, gets the win. I end up going 3 1/4 on this. Very fun match, just short. And if it went longer, it would have been better because, like you've seen Tomoka at this point. And Ami's coming to her own, Mirai's Mirai, Hazuki's Hazuki, Mayu's Mayu, Kaguma's Kaguma. Like they could have, if they need to go have a 4-star match, they could have, but that wasn't what was asked of them. But it was a very fun match nonetheless. So then you get to the tag league portion of the show, and you get the first match is Oedo Tai versus Oedo Tai, Black Desire, Momo and Kid versus We Love Tokyo Sports, Fukigen Death, and Saikashima.
I feel bad I missed this one. I feel like I would have enjoyed it.
You would have. It was straight to shenanigans. Saki and Death immediately attack Momo and Kid with the papers. They start whooping with the papers, and then it was a bunch of like, funny
we need a highlight reel of Fukigen Death and Saki hitting people with the papers. And we need Usher papers underneath it on there. So Elijah Washington first.
That's a really deep cut. Like that was like a promotional single.
Yes. Elijah Washington, first time chatter 876. The Goat Race Lattice here. That firm theme is sick. I did not do the firm theme. I did do Marina Shafir's though, but I appreciate you joining us.
So the match is the match, and it's fun at the start, and then eventually they get Saki in there. She runs wild. I believe it was with Kid. But ultimately, at the end, you end up getting Kid in there with Saki, and works over her leg, and eventually works it over more, and then gets the Dark Tiger Leg Destroyer and gets a submission victory. And then Momo and Kid go over to Saki and Death, lift them up to their feet, and they all walk to the back up the ramp, because at the end, Oedo Tai won. Good friends, good evil friends. So then the last match of the tag league section is a match that, like, as soon as I saw it announced, I just like, I can't wait for this match. Micah and Himeka versus Nanai and Yu. And throughout the year, you have often heard me talk about like the Hoss division of Stardom, big muscular women, and like just the ferocity and umph and physicality that they all wrestle with. And like, I was talking about it as a singles division, but I had not really opened my mind up to the possibility of the tag division. And now like we need, it's my fault. I should have thought bigger, right? Like now,
expand your mind.
Yeah, I was only thinking linearly. I wasn't thinking, I should talk to Kyrie about that one, about opening, thinking about everything.
Yeah.
Bigger deal.
Flat, just lay it all across the flat surface.
Yeah. Think three-dimensionally, right? Yeah. So, man, you and Micah start this match, both judokas, obviously, and they start, trying for trips. They get on the mat, and they start, countering each other out of trips and everything. And then they end up going to Himeka and Nanai. And I've seen Himeka and Nanai before because in the past, in Seedling, Nanai had booked Himeka and they had thrown out in a tag match. So I knew what to expect. But Himeka is so much better now. She's so much better than Nanai has, downgraded because of injuries. And, they go at it, and it's super fun. And then you end up with, you at some point in Himeka, and they go throw down, and it's like, Himeka's a giant, but you's big, but you forget that, once you see her next to Micah and Himeka, you're like, yo, she's really big. And I don't mean in a bad way, because she still can move, she's still awesome, but, the way she threw around and tossed around Himeka, it was like, I didn't know there was someone in Joshi that could really do that. And it was just super fun. And then, at some point, Himeka got you in the corner, and she racked her, and it was like watching Luger racking, the Giant in 1995 or 96 or whenever that was. I wasn't expecting Himeka to get her up, but she did it. Nanai broke it up, or whatever else. It was cool. And then the final stretch goes down to Nanai and Micah, and it was excellent. It was excellent. And they're doing high speed kickouts and near falls. And then at the end, after Micah kicks out of a deep cover, she reverses and hits a jackknife cover and gets Nanai deep and gets the 1-2-3 flash victory. And I was like, everybody worked their ass off. Everybody bumped their asses off. This was so good. I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed the hell out of this match. And for those that don't like Nanai, very similar to the things Rich says about people that don't like Sammy Guevara. Just continue to lie and just keep your head on the sand. I understand whatever happened. I'm not saying you were wrong for not liking the fact that she put a hit out on some woman, but that doesn't mean she's not a good fucking wrestler.
She did what?
The Yoshiko thing.
Oh, okay. I thought this was something else.
No, not no real hit, but.
Well, hold on, man. The not Takahashi calling shots in these streets.
No, I wouldn't be a fan of hers if she was actually if she was out here mob tying people up. No,
is she showing up with a pinstripe suit? Somewhere. The pantsuit.
All right, so yeah, my Hime is getting those 2 points, and there's they were the team that I want to win this tournament, but we'll see how that goes. But moving on, we end up getting to the white belt match between Kamitani and Kairi. This match, now it's hard now that I've seen the Kairi and Mayu match, whatever else. Obviously that match is better, but I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was great. I thought the pacing was a bit slow. I thought that might have been more of a Kairi thing, more likely than not. But it didn't. Go ahead.
It didn't take away from it. I was gonna say Kamitani not really one for the slow.
Yeah,
stuff.
That's what I was getting
historically.
At. Yeah. But either way, I thought at first maybe it might have been a thing where it's they're gonna go long.
Mm-hmm.
And then, me and you talked about, we both think it's going 30 minutes, and then you see the pace, it's oh, it's for sure going 30 minutes. It's for sure going 30 minutes. And sure enough, that's what happened. But, mine's kind of foggy on the details of the match, but I do remember Kamitani's working over Kairi's arm, right elbow, and Kairi was working over her core. Simple. Kairi does this. This is her match. This is her game playing in a non-sprint. So, I thought it was a great match. I did like the idea that what where they were going forward, telling the story of like, are you afraid to pull the trigger on the Phoenix Splash? And ultimately it leads to like one Phoenix Splash attempt that like Kyrie rolled out of the way of. While, you know, they try to figure out like, you know, what it takes for her to be off probation from that move for now. But yeah, or presumed probation. There's no official thing on that. We're just assuming. Because like, I remember when Hazuki, like they gave Hazuki like 2 shots with a red arrow, and she botched it twice. She never did it again. And that was 2018, 2019. It's 2022. I ain't never seen her do that shit ever again. But yeah. Anyway, I thought it was a great match, and like, you know, like Kamitani she's just automatic with great matches with pretty much anybody in a semi-main event situation, or more times than not a semi-final situation, semi-main event situation.
I like the, you know, as much as I like the overall package of Sai Kamitani, the kind of her vulnerability and all that, it was cool to see her kind of come into this match with a little bit different attitude. And she's like, all right, I belong here. And, you know, I thought this was like, until Sunday, I was like, oh, okay, I think this is the best Kyrie's look too. And, you know, I kind of figured, you know, on the show last week when we talked about it, we were going 30 minutes. So the pace really didn't bother me at all. I, you know, was locking in and just kind of appreciating the work. So I would probably go like 4 1/4.
That's what I end up going with it too. So the match basically turns into, I believe Kyrie goes for her elbow like 9:40, something like that. Or sorry, 29:40, something like that, 30-minute time limit. I think she goes for the elbow. Kamitani goes to get her feet up. She kind of misses in a way that like it was intended compared to the times I've seen people just put their feet up and basically kick Kyrie out the sky, but whatever. Got enough of it to where it still worked. Kamitani goes for an arm bar, and instead of Kyrie tapping out to the arm bar, she rolls it into a pin, and then like I think you get to like a 2 count, and then time expires, and then like Kamitani also kicks. So it's like definite rematch somewhere down the line. And it's gonna be fun. I think it'll be better than this one.
Yeah, I think they got another one in them.
Yeah. So then some main event, Red Belt match, Shuri versus Utami. And Shuri, to me, like Shuri and Utami did what Shuri and Utami normally do. Just excellent mat wrestling at the start, and basically like they're seemingly like the only two, not seemingly, I take that back. Like they're one of the for me, they're one of the few the word I'm looking for is matchups, if you will, where, cause I don't know why I struggle with them word matchups, but like they can just go basically like in the ring and chain wrestle and mat wrestle for like 10 minutes and I just won't get bored. Like the intensity, and the pacing of it is excellent, and like the way they kind of, it just feels like an actual sporting event as opposed to like they're just on the ring doing the things where like you ring twisters and then you roll in and out or whatever. It's like it actually feels like they're rolling, which is really cool. And then rolling. And then they're doing, and then basically from there they basically just like do counters based off the matches, like their 2 great matches, all time matches from last year, just counter switching up things, whatever else. At the start you get Utami like targeting the neck. You also get Shuri normally working arm to get to arm bars. And throughout the match, like Utami kind of was like wearing out Shuri's neck. And I think that was more playing on like the part where, yes, when the title changed, Shuri did kick out of the hijack bomb, but like in that 15-minute time limit match in the Grand Prix, like she dropped her with that, and like Shuri was like screaming like she was concussed and like crying from pain. So like she was like targeting her neck, trying to weaken her, just like get that whiplash effect. So, and I thought it was effective throughout the match. And then like I was wondering what it was building up to in I forgot what got it paid off in it, but like it was an awesome move. But and then like it was just great wrestling, and like I think it was a notch down from obviously from like their two like all-time classic matches or whatever, but I thought this was like still one of the very best matches of the year. I ended up going 4 3/4 on this. I love the match. And like ultimately at the end, Shuri like gets desperate and fights back with kicks. Was on her last gas, honestly. Got a last second kick and just like made the most of it and ended up like shoot headbutting the back of Utami's head, getting her up for the one with Immortal got the win. But I love the match again, and like that's just what they do. It's just kind of what they do. They're like a walking 4 3/4 to 5 stars.
So I predicted the match of the year for these two. Right now, this match is sitting at 9.43 on Cage Match. I don't think I agree with it to that degree.
I don't either.
But
right, I didn't give it 5 stars.
But yeah, another excellent match between these two. Legendary rivalry, all that. I loved a lot of the suplexes and stuff down the stretch, and it maybe if Utami wore the hair, maybe the result would have been different. But I'm telling you, the rule stands up. She don't wear the hair, she can't, quite prosper. But this was cool because Shuri has been like, when obviously she beat her for the title last year. This is, I believe, the 10th defense, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this is V10. This basically surpassed Utami's defenses. So she was, because Utami got stopped at 9, so she surpassed her.
Yeah, and that's always a cool kind of story to tell. Somebody trying to comes into the belt without a title, but they're still trying to defend something. And it kind of adds additional stakes. And there was stuff that, I bid on even knowing the result of this. I was like, oh, all right, Utami. But I'm interested to see where Shuri goes from here. I mean, she's staring Julia down, and it's right there. But anytime Shuri and Utami get together, I'm going to like it. I think I went 4.5 on this one. I think it was just missing just a little bit of what pushed the other two matches to, legendary levels last year. But, these are minor complaints.
Yeah. And then the main event, after those two matches, then there's the main event. There is the final of the 10,000 yen Powerball TLC match. I think I'm throwing in too many words. I forgot what exactly what it's called, but basically it was a TLC match, trios TLC match, in the final for the trios tournament, and they put a money ball at the top, and it was a plastic. It was a see-through ball. Right, yep. And you had to unhook the latch at the top to win. So this match ended up going I don't know why. I don't know if it was a time thing, but this match was a sprint. It went 10 minutes. And it's a trios TLC match. Right. And I mean, not to say it's a bad thing, but they were in there, doing more big spots than actual wrestling. Because they had to get so much shit in. But yeah, they were setting stuff up. They set up all the ladders in the ring. They had the tall ladder, the medium sized ladder, the ladder for thugs, a little 2-rung thing, 3-rung thing. Also, quirk added to this match was in neutral corners. There was a red light and a blue light that you could press. And you press the red light, it raised the money ball in height above the ring. So let's say if someone was on top of the ladder, they go to reach for it, you press the red button, it's going to go up, you can't reach it. And then the other team would naturally have to press the blue button in the other neutral corner to get it to come down. Mm-hmm. So while some of that stuff was going on with teases for near grabs of the money ball, somebody lets down the money ball way too low, to make it to where it was super easy to grab early in the match, a couple minutes in. Right. And so I think Hazuki came off one of the turnbuckles to drop kick the ladder, or maybe Tekla drop kick Hazuki off. I can't remember, but the money ball was so low that it was below the ladder, And once the drop kick happened, like the ladder crashes into the money ball, and the money ball isn't made out of super hard plastic.
Shit like splits.
And it's in the bottom half just breaks apart and the money falls at the bottom.
Bro, I didn't know what I was watching at that point. I was like, did they mean to do that? Like what the fuck is going on here?
They absolutely did not. It's one of the biggest botches I've ever seen in my life in pro wrestling. I was like,
bro, I was like, is this part of the match like where it just breaks over and over again? Like,
no, it absolutely wasn't. Everyone's looking around like, match's fucked. It's over. That's like they all looking around like, oh fuck. But ultimately, on their feet, they said, you know, you have to unhook the latch. Like you have to unhook the top half of the money ball from the thing, from the whatever you call it.
Yeah, the handle or whatever.
From the handle at the top. Yeah. So they just continue to wrestle as like the, you know, Donovan Mondo that's cornering on the outside and Stars that's cornering on the outside, like and a couple of refs like sweep the blooms and tokens and yen out of the ring. The funniest part was while that's all happening, you see like some of the, like you see people like Mayu or like Julia, like you see them like take some of the coins and shove the coins in their pockets. Now, the thing that's funny about it is like, for those that don't know, this money is clearly fake.
Yes, that Monopoly ass money.
Yes. That's it. Like these coins are clearly fake. Like, no, you did not get one of the doubloons from Kyrie's pirate stash. No, that did not happen. That is not 24 karat gold. You stop this. So
magic.
Yeah.
In the air.
So they continue to wrestle and like you get crazy big spots. You get a spot where Hazuki and Julia are on the big ladder that's by the ropes that has a chair bridge
this should look dangerous as fuck.
Yeah, so basically, like I think it's Momokogo on one end is holding it in place while the ref is holding it on place from the ladder and just making sure that it doesn't slip and fall because it's not like hooked in like you would see in like a WWE situation, right? So I forgot what happened to where Hazuki was able to take out Julia. It may have been a shoot headbutt, but after that, like you get the John Cena super avalanche AA off of that,
bro.
Or actually it looked like that, but she landed into a Michinoku driver, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It was awesome.
Hazuki Cena.
Yeah. I forgot what Mayu did. She did a big spot, I believe. But ultimately, like the bear did it again, similar to last year.
Flying bear
gets the other trios team on the floor, sets the ladder up by the ropes. Goes to the top rung, jumps off from basically the top of like a, 12, 15 foot ladder and lands on the floor on a group of her opponents. She, earlier this year, she jumped off the top of the cage onto her fans on the floor, onto her opponents on the floor to get the win in the cage match. Like, this is what she does. Like, the bear will fly.
Bear got wings out here.
So,
bear getting vertical out here.
So after Kaguma clears out the ops, Mayu and Hazuki, they go to the top. In
that her dive off that ladder, for those that haven't seen it, was every bit as like impressive as that Rey Fenix dive off the cage on the Young Bucks. It was like the same kind of thing.
Yeah, and also, like, it's shot so well because, like, it's not like you're trying to take a wide shot and get the whole entire arena, the whole entire structure. It's literally like it's shot from the cameraman that's on the floor about 5, 6, 7 feet from the wrestlers that's about to get dove on and just straight up in the air and catches Kaguma jumping off onto them. And it's always an incredible looking shot. So after that, Hazuki and Mayu, they climb to the top and they end up pulling down the top half of the money ball, and they go to celebrate. And as they're celebrating, like you see that like Mayu like pulls, like she pulls coins and yen out of her pocket. I mean, she was already pocketing this money. Even if they had lost, she was still gonna come out on top. So that was funny. Like, then they show like Julia, she's on her knees, like with almost like a cry face. She's not crying. It's a funny cry face. Like, I really wanted that money. And then you see her and she's crawling off, like trying to pocket some of the money on the way out. That was super funny. Yeah, just and then Star celebrates and close out the show. It was a really fun match that had to go on after like 2 great title matches, and I don't think it was nearly as good as those 2 matches, but I thought it was still fun nonetheless. Like, I'm thinking something around a 3 3/4 type of range. It was fun.
Yeah, it was like it was clear like that they weren't like necessarily trying to like outdo the 2 previous matches. Like, those were the main events, and now y'all can check this out after. It's almost like in the 80s, like when they have the house show joints with the highlight matches in the card, and then the middle of the show, and then like there's something else on at the end or whatever that's like there if you want to stick around.
Now, last year when they did it, it made all the sense in the world why they did it that way, because like just historically, in the pay-per-view, in like this pay-per-view era, big match era of Stardom with Bushiroad, like Rossi has not liked like any of the shows ending on a down note. Like, the closest thing to a down note, and it would be like Julia getting their hair cut, and then like at the end it turned into like Tam and Julia being funny, and they didn't actually fully cut her hair because they didn't want to end it on a down note. So like. Last year when they had this tournament, that was when the Momo turn happened. So like, I think the idea was like, let's do this to give you a nice fun match for the Mahimipoi could win or whatever else, and not make you think of like the lasting thing was like, oh damn, like Queen's Quest is destroyed or it's changed forever. So obviously there was no need for that here, but it was still fun nonetheless. Very fun match. Fun tournament for the little thing it was, and like it was a great weekend for Stardom. And I every time we go into these things where like it's a big weekend for Stardom, I'm always like, this is gonna get a lot more eyes than normal. Are they gonna have a stinker? Are they gonna lay an egg? Are they gonna embarrass me in somehow, some way? And like, it's been at this point, what, 3 years? Well, October 3rd, 2020 was the first pay-per-view they did when they had the Shuri Shuri Mayu red belt match, and then the undercard was the white belt match with Julia and Tam. Yeah, they've yet to embarrass me with some stinker pay-per-view. They've never, not all the pay-per-views are great, but like they've never had something where like this is like the most important show for them at this particular time, what you got, and like it's not been a great show. So or a weekend. So like, yeah, man, they've done a great job. They've done a great job, and like I'm interested to see what this weekend will do for them as far as like returning customers. That 7,000 fans in that building. I know they enjoyed what they saw. They were clapping their ass off throughout the whole entire night for Historic Crossover. I wonder what like this crossover pill will do for them, because obviously that whole entire show, given how it was built for them. It wasn't for New Japan. New Japan enjoyed doing it, but obviously the wrestlers enjoyed doing it. But that was for them, and it was a success. So yeah, it was all. What it does for them.
It was all over the timeline. A lot of people that normally you wouldn't see just talking about a standalone Stardom show, where I just saw a lot more discourse around it. So that was a good kind of indication there.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what people had to say that don't normally watch, that doesn't actually come up in their circles. Is like but it's New Japan, so they watched it. I wonder what they thought. What you said sounded positive. I have been away from it. I hadn't seen none of it, and I still managed to get fucking spoiled.
Log in.
Unbelievable, man. What bad luck.
You gotta fire off the 3-day-old takes now.
I'm not even going to do that. But like, what I will do is like, it gets to that situation. I might just have to do like the oldest Stardom days where I just put the phone away completely because now my phone will just send me push notifications from the app, from different articles.
I remember Okada Omega at Dominion. I was taking no chance. I turned my phone completely off, like from like the night before. Like I told Catherine, I was like, I'm turning my phone off. And I told Jeremy and Josh, I'm turning my phone off. I will be at the apartment at this time, and we're gonna watch this show. And I was completely unspoiled. Like, and we had no idea what was that, bro. When Okada won the first fall, we were just like, oh my god, well, he's gonna fucking lose. I can't believe it.
2 straight falls.
Yeah, like bro, like he's gonna fucking lose. Like, bro, like we were in the dark completely. Like,
that's funny.
And if it was a match I really, really cared about, bro, I'm going like full blackout.
Yeah. I was like that in like the pay-per-view era for Stardom when like the pay-per-views weren't like available to America. So like we had to wait that whole 4-day waiting period. So like that 10/3/20 show that I was just talking about, like I wasn't on. I just had my phone away from me for like 4 days. That was fucking miserable. Or actually 3.5 days because of the time difference. But like that was miserable until I got a chance to watch that. And then like there were like 1 or 2 more reviews that were like that until they did the Budokan Hall thing, and that's when they did live. And like, thank God they did it live. Take my $40-$50 every single time to avoid that. I don't. Unless there's any questions in the chat, I think we're done here.
Zach Maki said not to try to future boom too much, but who realistically beats Kyrie for the IWGP belt? I had answered in the comments. I was like, I probably personally need like 2 to 3 defenses before I can say, just because we kind of need to learn the rhythms of the belt, when they're going to utilize this thing, as far as like what big show, what small show it's on, and the actual pool of talent that's going to contend for it.
Yeah.
Because the champion's the champion, whoever's going to have it, like, or Kyrie's going to have it, like, for X amount of reigns, right? But it's like after Tam, I don't think Tam's winning.
Tam's not winning.
But, like, who do they, like, continue to roll out? Like, is it, like, Amina Shirakawa? I'm like, oh, okay, then, like, the belt kind of changes. Like, or is it, like, Shuri when she's, like, post red belt, something like that. We don't know which way they're going to go yet.
I think, well, I have an idea of what it's going to be. Like, I think it's going to be like, the more like that red belt class or that red belt division, except like, like I think Utami will have a crack at it. I think Shuri will have a crack at it. I think Mayu will have a crack at it. I think that Julie and Tam in a year or two will have cracks at it or whatever else. It'd be the thing where it's like, because, if they're going to, the way it seems they're doing this is like, we're going to put you on Wrestle Kingdom. We want you on on some of these New Japan America shows. Like, you're going to want your top 5-6 people on this thing, and this gets you away from the red belt for now. So, and then I'm sure they'll at some point they'll do some red belt versus IWGP belt match that goes to a 30-minute draw so they can get out of it. I'm sure they'll do that at some point on one of these pay-per-views because they do so many pay-per-views they have to do that. But whatever. But I think it'll be on Kyrie for a minute. Like, I don't think it'll be like the SWA thing where like Io won it and like her like almost immediately dropped it to Toni Storm, so Toni Storm could, because the belt was originally was meant for Toni Storm. But I think it'll be on Kyrie for a minute, and I think she'll have her first loss in Stardom coming back by dropping that belt, whoever it is too, whether it's Utami or Shuri or whatever else. I think I could definitely see it being Utami.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare is here, and so is Mountain Dew. Roger that. Now you can unlock in-game rewards like only Dew can. Wait, what rewards? A Dew Operator Skin. Man, I love Operator Skins. Dual double XP, and even Call of Duty points. You're kidding me. Double XP and Call of Duty points? This is incredible. I can't believe it. Soldier, get a hold of yourself. Oh, roger that. Look for specially marked packaging and visit mtndewgaming.com for details and restrictions. Open to U.S. residents 17 plus. Call of Duty points available on 12 and 24 packs and 3/28/23.
When you drive the brand ranked #1 in dependability by JD Power, you can stop thinking about what you can't do and start doing what you never thought possible. Visit your local Kia dealer today to see yourself behind the wheel of the brand ranked #1 in dependability by JD Power. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Always drive safely. Kia received the fewest reported problems among all brands in the JD Power 2022 U.S. Vehicle Dependability Study based on 2019 models. See jdpower.com/awards for 2022 details.
This podcast is brought to you by Udemy, a leading destination for learning and teaching online. Need to learn professional skills for your career? Join millions of people learning the latest skills in business and tech on Udemy. With our Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales, now's the smartest time to shop with courses as low as $9.99. Visit udemy.com and shop now. Sale ends Monday, November 28th.
Cool, man. I guess we should hit the music and transition to our segment with Keepin It Strong Style.
All right, welcome to this special Keeping It Strong Style One Nation Radio simulcast of a review of historic crossover. You're either listening to this live right now on Twitch or on the Keeping It Strong Style feed or the One Nation Radio feed or the Social Suplex Podcast Network feed.
One of them.
Several places. You can't miss it.
You're going to get this work, a smart man once said.
Go ahead and subscribe on all of them. Download on all of them. Give to all of them, show support for your boys. But yeah, we're going to talk about historic crossover, the big New Japan and Stardom pay-per-view that happened this weekend. Of course, here with young boy Josh Smith, Rich Lata, as Joe Lander likes to say, and James Boyd.
What is going on, folks? It has been a long time since I've joined Keeping It Strong Style. I'm very happy to be back. We're talking about, of course, we've been kind of on this Stardom coverage since 2019. I feel like we kind of, have earned our stripes a little bit on that side, at least, to come represent, Rossi's gang here. And, James, what's going on, man?
Not too much. We had a whole gag set up. I think the first time I came on for Keeping It Strong Style was when the news first broke or whatever. And I made some joke about when I come back when I have theme music. Because I was I'm pretty sure I have an idea of what's going to happen here. And it pretty much came to fruition. Obviously... it wasn't as competitive of a card. Once you put Muto and Yano on it, third from the top, you already know they're not really all that serious. But I had Rich.
James, you might be muted by.
I am not muted.
I'm hearing him.
Okay.
I hear him.
I guess the stream is y'all can't hear James. That is strange. Go ahead, continue, James.
All right. Well, so I had an idea this was going to happen. I figured they were going to have a great show and there was going to be a lot of Stardom doing the greatness. And I was like, okay, so I figured, as a joke, we were going to come back, and we did the review. I was going to do a, almost like a victory lap type of thing. And Rich is going to almost be a hype man and throw to interest music. Not interest music, I'm not a wrestler, but theme music, whatever else. So, for a minute, I was like, all right, I don't know what this music will be. Is it going to be something original? What is it going to be? And I was like, well, it has to be something original because otherwise it'll get copyright claim. So, I ended up, every so often go on this, website, long story short, or YouTube page. Basically, it's a black marching bands for HBCUs. And I found something I thought was cool. I sent it to Rich and said, what can you do? What do you think you could flip out on this? And he made this incredible beat. And, for some reason we can't get the audio to play for y'all. Like, we'll throw it in post for y'all or whatever else. But like, the whole joke was that like, we were just going to talk, me and Rich going to talk mad shit for like a minute and a half. Like, while this music was, while these fucking trumpets and tubas and trombones were going to blare out. But it didn't happen, unfortunately.
It sounds like you had nefarious intentions. But
nefarious intention?
Yeah, you were trying to dunk on Shinihan, and God stepped in the way and prevented you from taking your victory lap. That's what happened.
I didn't do so much the dunking as much as Mayu Iwatani did the dunking, but if you say so. But like, keep in mind, like, you go through the times I've been on Keepin It Strong Style ever since this thing has happened. I was like, hey man, Stardom is not the company or the promotion to come out here and like half-ass it. Like, they're going to present something that you're going to be like very impressed by, and like, will New Japan like just treat it as, this was women's wrestling, whatever else, and get fucking embarrassed. And they went out there with the best pro wrestler in the world in the semi-main event, and went out there and had an emotional story of the fucking main event ref's son's getting his brains beat in, and they got floored emotionally. They didn't have a fucking chance. So yeah, like, that's where I was coming from. I warned you. You were forewarned. So,
well, I guess we might as well play it for the people that are on the stream, at least. They can hear what was sent through. So I am pulling it up right now, and let's get it going. The horns sound like victory, don't it?
Oh man. Well, let's start talking about this show, because it's a little bit late here.
I think we're gonna have very different opinions of what we saw on this show, but I'm glad that I'm back here on Two Nation Radio. That's all I want to say.
The show inside the show.
Yeah.
See, I'm thinking we can go. We don't have to give like super in-depth stuff on some of like the pre-show undercard stuff, and kind of breeze through that stuff.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah. So starting off, we had two pre-show matches. So first match was the LA Dojo team of the Android Alex Coughlin, while Rhino Clark Connors, Gabriel Kidd, and the Jet Kevin Knight defeating the Noge Dojo team of Kosei Fujita, Oscar Libre, Ray Oiwa, and Yuto Nakashima. 9 minutes and 39 seconds. Pretty much this was the LA Dojo, like, picked up where they were left off in 2019, smoking the Noge Dojo, running these boys out the Ariake Arena.
Some might say they smoked on the pack, because they killed those boys. They fucked them up so bad.
You know, Shibata Dojo better than the Funky Dojo.
Like, I mean, they gave what's Lubeck? That's the last name. How do you pronounce it?
I don't know how to pronounce it.
I've heard like 3 or 4 different ways.
That's why I'm asking.
Nobody knows.
Okay, well, anyway, the very tall, very pale guy, he impressed with the size and speed combination, but ultimately he was overwhelmed by the numbers game from LA Dojo, and they put his ass away with a tandem muscle buster, and then Coughlin got the pin. That was impressive.
Yeah, that was
Coughlin ripped to shreds, man.
Yeah, that was Coughlin and Gabe Kidd. That's their new tag finisher. They are in the World Tag League, so they were kind of building those guys up for that tournament.
Yeah, man. I just got one thing to say about this. There was Kazuchika Okada, and then there was Kevin Knight.
Yeah, there's a great interview on NJPWxStardom where Shibata talks about just how great Kevin Knight's dropkick is and how much money it's going to be. So yeah.
There was also Kevin Knight and Yuto Nakashima mirror match, but only the hair. specifically.
Correct. I saw that. I was like, man, I was like, these two gentlemen with these same hair textures. This is this is quite amusing.
One's naturals, one is very much not so. He should stop.
Some quick questions here. Ocock 890 says, do you think the LA Dojo guys will become their own faction, or do you guys think they become more involved in New Japan? They'll join different factions. Also, MJWPR says, how did Oscar Lube look in his debut? And Stone Cold Bob Saget says, DKC sucks. That's my question.
Well, first off, I'll start off. DKC does not suck. I think he's got some bad gimmickry, but he does not suck. Lube, very impressed. Like the whole time I was seeing him get his shine, I was just thinking like, there's money in this guy right here. They got to refine him, but I think they got money there. And an LA Dojo faction is death for anybody that's in it, because where are you gonna go?
Like I don't know if they'll ever like really have a top star. So like the boys dead on arrival, as Josh was saying.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them doing some kind of faction. I mean, they kind of teased that. They were teasing that in 2019 when they were doing this whole Noge Dojo, LA Dojo rivalry, and then on New Japan Strong, you have the LA Dojo against United Empire rivalry last year. So it does seem like they're going in that direction. On their nameplates, it still says LA Dojo, even though Connors, Kid, and Coughlin have all graduated from the dojo. So yeah, I think that's the direction they're going in. And yeah, Oscar, I thought he looked great. He started training in the Fale Dojo. But then the pandemic happened. He had to go back to Germany, wrestle for WXW, and now he's back here in the Noge Dojo. So yeah, I think more training and an excursion, this guy's gonna be money.
To me, he looks like he's ahead of Hikuleo, or will be. Like he looks like he's more instinctual, like than when I first saw Hikuleo. So we'll see. How tall exactly is he?
He looked at like a good 6'10" almost, probably.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, LA Dojos ain't exactly the tallest in the world. So is he really 6'10" or is he 6'7"?
I think Coughlin and them are 6'2". He's tall.
Okay. Coughlin is taller than Connors. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Following that, we had the Stardom Rambo, where Mirai outlasted the crew there to win this Rambo. Really fun matchup here. What did you guys think about this? Was anybody in there that you expected not to be in there, or it was kind of who you were expecting?
It was more or less your standard Stardom roster of the people that weren't highlighted higher on the card. So it was pretty much everybody else's on the main roster is in. And then they did the double thing where they did Saya Ida goes out and she comes back and she's super strong Stardom Machine, which is a carryover joke from No People Gate in 2020 when they had a battle royal. And she came out 3 times. She's like the 3 faces of Ida. So yeah, they run that out every about once a year doing Rambos. They probably do 2 Rambos a year. So this was her time to do it. But yeah, Mirai, she came out first. I thought when I first looked at who was, didn't get put on the main card and I saw Rambo, who was most likely, or who I thought most likely would win, I thought it would be her. She came out first, which is a good sign, and she ended up getting the win. She ended up going down the closing stretch with the final 2 with her and Ida dressed as super strong Stardom Machine, and they clobbered each other, and then ultimately Mirai got the win with the Miramari Shock, and yeah, I think it's the right winner. As far as Stardom Rambos go, it was the best one they've done. They've had some really wacky ones. They had one in Budokan Hall that was terrible. So, you know how I am when it comes to Stardom. Just don't embarrass me. So they didn't embarrass me. They had the standard, normal Rambo, and they got on with it.
From a novice / rookie fan's perspective, I thought that this was a pretty good Rambo. I thought that it was better in many respects than most of New Japan's Rambos that we've seen. And even though it was a little bit difficult to follow, because there's so many new characters kind of being presented all at one time, I mean, I kind of got the gist of what they were going for and kind of the background of the characters. I thought it was a good way to get the girls on the show and kind of familiarize, some of the other audience with who they were and kind of showcase them just a little bit. And, it was fun. It wasn't like a great match or anything, but it was fun and it told a kind of cool story. And, it definitely didn't overstay its welcome.
A couple of kind of visual things to look at on there, like when you saw Hannon in there with her two sisters, like they're gonna be running this thing in a couple years, and it's gonna be like the two sisters around Hannon. It's gonna be pretty funny.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Saki Kashima, a woman who has made peace with her lot in life with 4 eliminations here. Always love when Saki Kashima comes out here and shocks the world. And then, Hazuki was in there. So I was pleasantly surprised when I saw Hazuki. So
I also learned who Waka was through this match.
Oh, okay. Waka. So you finally saw the King of New York. That's nice.
Finally know who Waka is.
Yeah. So, Waka is, for lack of a better word, she is Cosmic Angel's mascot. Yeah. She has yet to win a match in Stardom. She's been around for about probably over a year now at this point. And they put her in trios matches or faction matches, and she's obviously the person's going to eat the pin. She hasn't won yet, but you can get great near falls. The crowd reacts out of her having big kickouts, out of big moves and stuff, and keep a match going. And you want to see her get the win, get her first win, but then you're also well, what happens when she gets it? Or is the crowd going to react to her? You wonder how that's going to go. She's adorable and all that kind of stuff, and she has pluck. But yeah,
it worked for Cheeseburger and it worked for Hama.
You know what? You're right. I didn't even think about it from that perspective, but you're right. You're right. So yeah, maybe I think it's gonna happen this year, but I just wonder, right time and place whenever that happens. Yeah, they brought Oedo Tai in, they brought Stars in, and then when Saki came out, and there was a bunch of people that hadn't been eliminated. I was like, oh, she's gonna clear this bitch out. And sure enough, flash crucifix pin, flash crucifix pin, and flash crucifix pin, and it was effective in what they were going for, as you mentioned. But I'm kind of a person that's I don't like Brambos and Rumbles in battle royals to begin with, so it's I'm hard to please when it comes to that perspective.
Yeah, overall, really fun match, and I thought Chris Charlton and Kevin Kelly did a great job of introducing the people and kind of who was who and what was going on. But yeah, really enjoyed that to kick off the show. So then, first match on the main card, we had the Chaos team of Ishii, Yo, Yoshihashi, and Lio Rush defeating the House of Torture team of Dick Togo, Evil, Show, and Yujiro Takahashi. 7-minute match. Fine opener here. The big thing is you have some World Tag League and Super Junior Tag League implications here, as Yo and Lio Rush, they're in the Junior Tag League. Yoshihashi's in the World Tag League. His partner is Goto. Show and Dick Togo are in the Junior Tag League. Evil and Yujiro in the World Tag League. So just kind of some preview matches here. Overall, it was fine. Lio Rush's debut in Japan. Nothing really to write home about this match.
I like this match. I gave it 3 flat stars, but I really like at the beginning when Ishii's in, and he's almost like the protagonist in an action movie, and he's foiling all these henchmen, and he's sidestepping, or it's almost like someone throws a big boot, he sidesteps it or catches the boot and throws it to the dude behind him because he has eyes in the back of his head. It was a bunch of that for 40 seconds of Ishii just being the Equalizer, he's fucking Denzel Washington all of a sudden, and it was fun. And then I also like the 3K coming back as a finish for Yo and Leo, and it's just they I don't know what they got in common. I know that Kelly
they do music together.
I know and they say they have similar interests, and the only thing I think of was Yo in that art display that he liked, the poop sculptures. So it's bro, that dude's weird, but whatever, it is what it is. But I did like that they brought the 3K back.
They're both artists. They just work in different mediums. Okay.
Shit is not a medium, Josh.
Tell that to Evil.
Yeah, I thought Leo looked good. First time in Japan, you always want to make an impression. He was moving around the ring well, and I gotta imagine Lio Rush is looking at it hey, this is my last shot to try to stick somewhere, because you know, it's real hard when you run through Vince, Triple H, and TK. So
and MLW,
yeah,
and GCW, you know, like, and Ring of Honor. Like, there's nowhere else to go, like, at all.
Look, I think y'all are being too hard on him. We're after all talking about Leo Rush, a person that made history on Sunday in the morning. He has to be the first black man to win a match in Stardom. Has to be. So cut him some slack. He is breaking barriers. Okay, breaking barriers.
I will say, he had a great match in the main event today in Cork and Hall. Him and Yo against Catch 2-2. That's Akira and TJP. Really fun main event. Thought Leo Rush looked great in there. Him and Akira, their speed together was awesome. So yeah, Leo Rush is looking good. I think he's going to be a great addition to this junior division.
That was a free show, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's free. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Leo Rush is not coming to Japan to work junior tag league unless he's winding up in the finals in some capacity. So, yeah, this was kind of a showcase match for them as an emerging tag team amongst the other things you guys mentioned. I thought it was fun. The nice thing here, very little House of Torture-ism. You know, there wasn't a lot of those types of shenanigans. Most of that stuff got foiled. They didn't have a lot of time to pop that shit off, so it was kind of nice there.
Leo got choked by the garrote wire.
Very little. I said very
that's
little.
Minimum. That's minimum.
It was minimum. This was very. Yeah, that's a baseline you expect.
Everyone gets choked by the wire.
The lights didn't get turned out. There was no ref.
No ruffles. Yeah.
You know, there was a lot more that could have gone wrong.
I mean, they took a turnbuckle pad off.
Just one. They didn't take all four of them off.
Yeah.
Brewhaven calls Leo Rush the Jackie Robinson of Joshi.
Jackie Robinson.
Joshi Robinson, if you will.
So we just no. No, just no. Okay, fine, whatever. We're just erasing black women. Okay, fine. Okay, okay. I don't agree with this. I guess that's what they're doing. They meaning like there's a them and a me. Me is not with them.
Anyways, it was fine.
Moving on to the next matchup. we had a six woman match here. Queen Quest, Azumi, Lady C, and Saya Kamatani. They defeated the Donna Del Mundo team of Himeka, Mai Sakurai, and Tekla. Also a big story here. Lady C and Mai Sakurai, they're teaming up in the Stardom Tag League right now. It's My Fair Lady, kind of being forced together here. Tekla, I believe she's coming back from injury and looking to kind of make a splash back in Stardom. And then there, her and Azumi had some great sequences there. It seemed like potentially setting up a high-speed matchup maybe between those. And also we had a rematch. And we had the white belt champion Saya Kamatani in there as well. Awesome. Hitting that 450. I think she called it with the Firebird Splash.
Yeah. She ironically, she started breaking that out during the Grand Prix. And I thought that was a way to like save her body from doing the Phoenix Splash all the time. And then like in her last before this weekend against Mina Shirakawa on 11-3, she ended up like botching one badly, airballing it, having to go up again, botched it the second one, and this second one her foot ends up like turning to like a phoenix splashing leg drop right on Mina's mouth and like knocked out like 3 of her teeth and like bucked up her jaw. So you know, they basically like that's kind of like on the no list for now. She's on probation for now with the Phoenix Splash. So she's using the Firebird for now.
Yeah, and Chris Charlie was trying to tell a story of like maybe she's hesitant to do it, kind of like when Billy Kidman messed up the Shooting Star in like 2002, and he was kind of like hesitant to do it because he didn't want to hurt his opponent.
Yeah. That played into the white belt match she had with Kyrie the night before, where she tried it. She actually tried it one time, but Kyrie slipped out the way, so she basically had to do the whole like roll through thing. But yeah, that was a part of the match from that for Saturday morning.
Go ahead, John.
I was just gonna say I don't have as much to probably add to this as you guys do, but I thought that this was a really great match. I thought it was more high speed, more entertaining, obviously, than the first men's 6-man tag. But this was a really great showcase for everybody. I did see the Saya Kamatani title defense from the night before, and from what I've seen of her, RLPW, big fan of Saya, especially with the tassels. The one thing I will say though, and this is the only like interesting point I have, every single review every person I saw that was giving a preview of this match was telling me that Lady C was eating the pinfall, and it was not so. So, do you guys believe in miracles? Because she did not take the L.
I can see. I don't know who I predicted to win. I think I probably predicted Lady C would take the L too, because she eats a lot of L's too. But Mai as a loser makes a bunch of sense, because Mai's not as good as Lady C is, but she's pushed at a slightly higher level. So either one of those two were going to be the two pin eaters in this situation. And in this situation, once you saw Mai out there with Kamitani and it went more than like 2 seconds, you were like, oh, she's stuck in there and she's isolated. She's about to get pinned.
I was glad to see Azumi on here. She would have rather been teaming with Will. She gave a interview saying, she wanted to team with somebody but wouldn't reveal who it was. We all kind of knew who she was talking about. And this is kind of when the pageantry of this show started hitting me when Queen's Quest came out. Like, I felt proud when Queen's Quest came out. I was like, I think I'm rolling with Queen's Quest here. So
they've always been my favorite faction. Ever since I started watching Stardom, because it's like the leftover like legacy of Io Shirai was like she took like Momo Watanabe, Hazuki, and Azumi, and like more or less like that was like her dojo, right? And then like Io left and like Momo took over, and then like Hazuki by that point in time from faction warfare got like taken away, but like that was always like we're putting our young like prodigious talents there that came out of our dojo. That's kind of what they've always done with Queen's Quest. So like that's when you get Kamitani, Azumi, Utami, Momo. Like that's always been like the thing. So like I've always dug their style. Like they always work like a basically straightforward, just wrestle their asses off type of clique, and like that's been the case for them since ever since I've watched them. So I've always enjoyed the hell out of them and always liked them the most. And like their tag matches are just top notch. Like they're like Stardom hums like a machine, but like they are like the most efficient machine.
Yeah,
I'm more of a Stars guy myself. Always have been.
Makes sense, I guess. Should succeed liking baby faces.
Queen's Quest.
I don't know if they're baby faces. It's just
Stars are baby faces. They're very much like Hantai.
Yeah, they're Hantai in Stardom. But Queen's Quest, United Empire. I feel like there's a theme there. Azumi and Will teaming up next time would be great. Yeah, really a good tag match here, which led to the next tag match, the first mixed tag match of the night, where we had Julia and Zack Sabre Jr. defeating Shuri and a filthy Tom Lawler, 10 minutes and 29 seconds. And this was another really fun matchup here. Of course, from the G1, Sabre and Filthy Tom have been feuding over George Michael and what was the other guy?
It was George
and Boy George, yeah.
They're
arguing over that. So that's kind of the history of their rivalry. And then, of course, Julia and Shuri, they have a big World of Stardom title match coming up, and big rivalry there. Julia winning the 5-star Grand Prix, and so a lot of the match was them trying to kill each other and throwing strikes. And a preview for that match, there was one point in the match where Philly Tommy's trying to break them up, and then they both start beating him up because they want to
get out the way.
They want to run and go at it. Yeah. And Philly Tom, he had the short shorts with the God's Eye glitter logo on the shorts.
On both shorts.
Yeah.
Both the overs and the unders. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Waka seemed to be impressed by that on commentary.
I loved Waka on commentary throughout this whole thing. She would jump in with like one line of like very basic English, and it'd be like, "Oh, that was Waka." Like,
I will say that Waka added a ton to the main event, but yeah, like it was more or less like Kelly and Charlton doing the job while just throwing her for a little bit of background for things they may not be too aware of. So I thought that for such a awkward situation, they made the best of it.
Well, get ready, because I heard during the post-match comments that Shuri said the one thing she regretted was that she didn't have matching gear to Filthy Tom Lawler. So the next time they tag together, she does plan to wear the jean attire with the glitter and the tassels, and she wants to do the same dance that he does as they enter together. That was what she said during the post-match. So
Look, if not for the day before show where she just broke out brand new gear, I fully was expecting her to show up in red denim. I really was. I mean, it's documented. You can go through like our or you can actually go to Charlton's Discord. I actually said that, like, I was fully expecting her to come out and like in some like cutoffs, because she's also worn like long jeans before, like things that look like jeans before for gear. So like I was expecting that, in like they have a admiration, respect for each other doing the whole MMA thing. So
hopefully she doesn't wear red skinny jeans.
I'm not going to Chris Charlton's Discord. I exclusively am on Twitter until it dies.
I'm on both. Like I'm waiting for it to die too, but I was like, well, while it's going over to here, let me see if I can ask them a question about like what's going to happen with, you know, them trying to communicate small details like besides just on their website for news. So,
but as far as this mixed tag match goes, I really enjoyed it. I felt like this is part of where the show really shined. I know, you know, people were kind of wondering if there was going to be like this sort of competitive nature between the two brands, and I honestly didn't get very much of that vibe whatsoever. The way, say, like the Noah show was, it wasn't like that. This was more literally, in some cases, more so a showcase for Stardom, but also very much a collaboration. And it was kind of cool to see even like the men in many cases were like kind of treated like the juniors. Like in this case, like they were the pin eaters.
Yeah. I'll go a step further. I think New Japan did everything, did almost basically anything you could possibly ask any promotion in this kind of situation to do joint shows like this to put another promotion over. Like I think they should be. I think that New Japan Pro Wrestling should be commended for what went on Sunday morning. I think we've seen how a lot of male wrestlers act in like intergender and stuff and whatever else, and they don't want to sell or whatever else, or they only want to sell for the tiniest bit or whatever else. Right. And like all them dudes was showing ass for the women left and right. And like making them and literally trying to show personality and make the women look like the coolest acts out of all these teams. So like, this went as well as you could have expected it to.
MJ Does PR says, can James explain why Shuri and Julia double teamed Tom?
Oh, because he got in the middle of their battle.
Yeah, he's in the way.
They're trying to beat each other. Like, look.
Yeah,
I've seen this when they tag together in like quote unquote all-star tag team matches, or when they've had the tag since Shuri left Donovan Amato to start God's Eye. When those two get in the ring together, they're going to, and Julia has this also with Tam Nakano as well. Like, they get in the ring, they have their section of the match, and they're going to just bomb throw until they both collapse and then tag out. That's just how it goes with Shuri and Julia. Shuri also has it with Mayu. It's like there's certain people where it's like certain like you call it like certain particular rivals where it's like they get in tag matches and you know that's going to carry this match too. That's going to be the hot shit in the tag match. So yeah, that happens. It happens with Momo and Hazuki, for example, too. So yeah, like he got in the way, so he had to pay.
They also explained on commentary kind of the history where they were stablemates and had regularly teamed together. And so I think that
they were tag champs. Like when Tom Lawler got in the way and they basically like ran him from one corner to the middle, and they hit like basically like meet in the middle like drop kicks. That was one of their tag moves.
That's their shit. Yeah.
Okay, that was their shit. Yeah.
I'm pretty convinced that Tom wanted to eat all that and was like, here's what we're gonna do. Like, and so that was just so memorable.
He reviews Stardom every other week like we do. Well, we do it more every week, but you know what I'm saying? Like he knows all this stuff.
That part was so memorable, very, very, very fun, and I thought it was like the standout of the match was just seeing the two of them kick the shit out of him, and then those two be so dead set on killing each other that they got distracted from the match altogether.
Yeah,
which pretty much left Tom a sitting duck for Zack Sabre to use the Techers.
Yeah, Zack busted out the European clutch and got the win there.
Yep, and then like Julia and Sabre are like doing this playful thing where like one's trying to raise the other's arm and they're like, no, let me raise your arm, no, let me raise your arm. And like that was also cool because like, Sabre can when he wants to be, can be a dick. So you don't know how he's gonna play it, but he's like, fellow countrywoman. So it's like, gotta, put her over. So that was cool. Like all these interactions were super cool. Like Like the Tai Chi and Tam stuff was cool too. We'll get to it, but yeah, like it was a lot of just fun things that you just wouldn't expect, or or things that you think like that'd be cool, and that would be like a nice meme or whatever else, but like you don't think they're actually going to think of it, and then they do it.
Yeah. Yeah, the backstage comments, Zach asked Julia if he can join Don Del Mondo and said he would put it on his gear, the logo on his gear.
He's working towards trying to become a full-fledged member of DDM.
Yeah.
That's funny. Like Don Del Mondo is Italian for woman of the world.
Well, he wants to be one of them.
Yeah. Next matchup, we had Meltier, which is Natsupoi, and Tam Nakano. They teamed up with Taichi and Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and they defeated the team of Black Desire, which is Momo Watanabe and Starlight Kid, and Doki and El Desperado.
Well, let me just start off by saying two things. Number one, I didn't even recognize Momo. Like, I knew it was going to be her in the match, and then like halfway through the match, I realized it was her, and I was like, "Oh shit, she's blonde and she's carrying a bat. Like, this is a totally different person." I didn't recognize.
She's had a quite a free fall and coming on hard times in the last year. It was like she came out. This goes back to the Grand Prix last year. She had this look on her face like, I know I ain't gonna win. And
in the final, she's walking out for the final, and she has that face. Yes. That face, yeah.
Yes,
that's funny.
You know, she had to wrestle Shuri. Shuri basically outlasts her, beats her, and banishes her to hell. She's got all these people in Queen's Quest, like kind of, you know, rising and surpassing her. And then she starts like looking around and decides, like, you know, it's like, you know, when people start turning to drugs and The Wire, like that's kind of like what Momo was like Watanabe like kind of did when she joined Oe Otai. It was just like, I'm just going to start doing heroin now. So like, you know, I have nothing left to live for, so I'm just going to be a evil deviant, and this is what she's been for like a year.
Yeah, well, she's still mostly awesome.
Yeah, but she's awesome.
Oh, everyone was great in this match. The other thing I was going to say is, like, I didn't know of Meltier. I knew the names, but I'd never seen them.
Man,
and
that doesn't sound like Meltzer. Like,
did I say that wrong?
No, it's Meltier, and like it sounds like Meltzer. That's why I don't like the name.
Oh, I see. Okay. And I knew that they were like idols or whatever, but I hadn't seen the visual of like what the idea of like them coming out mixed with Tai Chi, and I'm like, okay, this makes perfect sense why these were all paired together. And it was just hilarious. And then like when Tai Chi's going to like pull off his like trunks, and then like one of the girls like she's trying to rip but she doesn't have it. Like,
she can't pull the tutu off. Yeah.
This match was so funny, bro.
So the thing that's crazy about like the Meltier and Tai Chi thing is that like after when the pandemic first happened and both promotions were on hiatus, they started doing like cross-promotional stuff with certain wrestlers here and there in certain mismatch type of situations. Well, they did a live stream for Bushiroad for some reason where they put Tai Chi and Tam Nakano together, right? And like, it made no sense at the time. Like, you're putting like the babiest of baby faces you can find in like the top 99% of baby face percentile in the world with the, you know, Black Mephisto, right? So, but like they have like this weird charm or whatever else with each other, where like Tai Chi says lewd things to this like pretty woman that's like older than she appears to be, and like that, like that's just their chemistry. And then you know, in the last like few months, like Natsupoi joined Cosmic Angels, became Tam's tag team partner, became tag team champions. So like they made their own, because they're both idols, they singers. Like Tam's actual solo theme music is her singing. It's actually a song about, the lyrics are actually about Mayu Batani, but whatever. But they end up like singing their entrance music down to the ring, and like lo and behold, like who else sings their entrance music down to the ring? Well, you know, sing with, you know, lip sync. So like it all ends up matching up, and it was like
he sings for real. That's not lip syncing.
Yeah. Okay. but yeah, and then they have the Tai Chi mask thing on when they're coming down, and like they had already got Ken Murray to come out first. Like they're like, yeah, you take your ass out here, and it's actually about like Natsupoi and Tam and Tai Chi, and they're doing the slip syncing thing, and they're like it was just really fun. But like the match was also great because like Momo, as you mentioned, like just kind of like a hoodlum along with Starlight Kid, like both of them in the last year basically have turned into these characters, and like they're just terrorists. And like anytime is Melter and Black Desire, like Melter comes out, they want to sing their song, and like Black Desire just will not have it. We will not have it, and like they would cut them off. And
they tried to, yeah.
It happens every time, and it's just fun and to see how like all the interaction you see. You're trying to see how like the Despy side and the Tai Chi side handle it or whatever else, and that was interesting. And then to see like I think that was like the first like man on woman type of thing when you had Desperado like grab like Poi by the hair. So that was interesting to see. And then like you progress later in the show, and he was like, okay, so like I see what they're doing, and like it's working very effectively in each match, and they're all doing it in different ways, as opposed to like the kind of like the mixed match challenge or whatever else, where it's kind of like it's the same thing every single time. So
did you guys notice that Kento literally put him in an arm lock and like arm barred him to get him? Like they don't do that in New Japan. Like the referees never show any kind of like actual force,
right?
And he arm barred him to get him to let go, like which kind of showed like how serious it was.
They all played it up very well, and like even teasing like the as they call it now, the Ferial Mist, right? So he had that
Ferial Mist.
Yeah, so like Natsupoi, like she, Rich is very, very Rich used to be the one like huge in the bandwagon. He used to be riding shotgun with me in the Natsupoi bandwagon thing, but ever since she left Dom Mondo to join Cosmic Angels, he like from Sado Non Grata, like public enemy number 1 now. So like she's just like this, very much like Kyrie, like this very, very like likable, infectious smile. Like she was a fairy. Like she's literally she's like Tinkerbell. She's literally like Tinkerbell, and like you have to kill her to death 1,000 times to actually put her away. She's that kind of like fight for any type, and to see her like that kind of personality, like literally be Tinkerbell, and like she's with Kanemaru, and Kanemaru teach her how to like drink. Like shit was funny. Like to see that at the Stardom Dojo, and then to see like Taichi and Kanemaru try to do like the dive, and they were struggling with the ropes, and then like they lead up to that in the match where like they actually just assist them in the dive. Like all this was cool, and then like to see Momo like she wants at the beginning of the match to like trade the Ibushi Tai Chi kicks from the G1 like a couple years ago. Like she wants to do that with Tai Chi, but it's like no, this woman we're not starting with that. We're not doing that. Like it was like it got over so many of the personalities in a way that like I think the first time viewer will like be like, oh, okay, I get who this person is. This person like, okay, this person X, they do X, Y, and Z, cool. So I'll
tell you one thing about Black Desire. That's gimmick infringement. Hoodlums, where one's smaller than the other one, and one of them carries a bat, and one of them covers their face. Who does that sound like?
Darby and Sting.
So another dynamic here. Momo Watanabe would definitely meet like Dookie out on the streets. And like Doki's just this dude that's living fast, living the life, and then he comes across like Momo Watanabe, and she starts riding shotgun with him.
Kevin Kelly mentioned that like he said something like they're both downtrodden or whatever else, and I fucking howled because like you said that in the preview, and I was like,
it's the same.
I'm looking for all the angles here.
Doki gotta tell her we ain't going back. Like,
yep,
we only moving forward.
You got to ride with me. We gonna figure this out.
Listen, Doki never loses. He goes forward. She needs to jump on the bandwagon with him and move forward.
Yeah, but I get the finishing stretch of this was like Taichi in there with Doki, and Taichi eventually puts him away with the Black Mephisto. And then after the match, do you guys know what happened with the match? After the match, or you want me just to recap you in?
Go ahead.
Okay, so after the match, like he basically pulls Tam aside and like does it obviously close to like the if you say hard cam sort of close towards the mic and basically like encourages her to say, hey, you need to, be the first challenger for the IWGP Women's title at like 1-4. And then she was like, should I do that? And like, I don't have the translations, but like you can kind of see that's where it's going, and you can hear Charlton like kind of fill you in on that what was going on. So like, later in the show that ends up happening, but I was like Taichi has an actual friend. He's actually like encouraging this woman. Like I didn't know Taichi had this in him. Like
Taichi's got friends. Like
he doesn't.
Him and Zach are like really close. And when Despy, remember
that's pretty much it. That's pretty much
it. Lance Archer, he was at the barbecue at Archer's house.
Him and Lance Archer are very good friends.
Okay, so I get. He actually, I know he's not a antisocial person. Doesn't have any friends, but like that's the gimmick that he's putting over. Like doing this kind of things that he doesn't have friends. Like with the whole Tam thing, it's like I don't have any friends. Like when there was one week when I think the the G1 final, Shuri and Julia were both presented flowers to Okada and Ospreay. That same weekend, like I think it was Okan and it may have been Okan, it may have been Desperado, or it was Desperado and Taichi at one of the Stardom pay-per-views, and they presented flowers for like Tam and whoever else or whatever else, and Natsupoi. And at the time, like post, setting up the road to a sort of crossover before they eventually announced that they're going to be tagging together. Like Taichi was like, I don't have any friends. Like, can you be my friends? Like that was like a thing he said. He was just being funny.
Well, yeah, man. That was another good match. What we got next, Jeremy?
So next we got Hiroshi Tanahashi and Utami Hayashishita. They defeated Hiroki Goto and Micah 9 minutes and 36 seconds.
I would like to rename Hiroshi Tanahashi right now. Hiroshi Ike Turner Hashi. Because he wasn't taking no shit.
Yeah, we talk about the level of the man on woman and woman on man violence increasing as the show goes on. Oh, we definitely saw that here in this matchup with Tanahashi. We got douchebag Tanahashi. Every once in a while, Tanahashi likes to be a heel. He likes to break the rules, and that's what we got here. He got in there. He was holding. Who was he holding on to? Micah. He's holding Micah. And then he does the shote, the slap to her at one point. He put, stomping a mud hole, gets his Stone Cold Steve Austin on, just, dropping the boots on, and he hits his ace pose on her.
Man. The whole time, right? Because they started a match with Utami and Micah, and then they immediately both go to clear the male counterparts off the ring. So from there, like once they do their trade off of technical stuff and then tag out. So as Goto and Tanahashi are circling, like Tanahashi, he turns towards like Mike in the corner. He does one of these, like I'm
afraid.
Right, and then they continued throughout the match, and like eventually Tanahashi got his back. It's like, okay, that's fine. And then they kept going, and then it turned into a thing where it's like, all right, when is Mike gonna get hers? When is Tanahashi gonna get his? And like, it was funny as hell to me because it was like, this is like one of the greatest baby faces to ever live, and he's just like he's out here going back and forth with Micah, and then eventually Micah got a backdrop driver on him. It's like it was so good. It was so fun.
Beating women out here. How'd you like this, Josh?
Oh, this was my favorite part of the show, and not because of the gimmick, like not because of that, like legitimately because of how funny Tanahashi is. Anytime Tanahashi does heeldom, it always pops me. And like what you mentioned, Jeremy, like where he like rushed into the ring and he started putting the boots to her, and they did the freaking pose.
Yes.
And then the referee turns around and he was like, and he like goes
ran back to the corner.
Yeah. There was a time. There was a spot where like I think him and Utami both put the boots to Micah while like Goto had a ref, and then like Tanahashi has all the time, and he knows like that the ref is gonna have his back turned until Goto gives him the word to turn around. But Tanahashi, like he ran back into the apron to get into this corner, and then I was like, He's such a sneaky bitch.
It's so funny. It's very rare that we see that the appearance of Dick Tanahashi, but it exists.
He was being challenged, like New Japan. Someone was trying to infringe upon the line. Like we've seen Tanahashi not take respect. Remember, like when they threw that belt. And Noah and he had to run up and say this will not stand. You know what happens like when somebody tries to come back to New Japan. You know how he treated Shibata.
When he disrespected DDT and he buried the whole fucking promotion when he was there doing a show. Like, yeah, he saw that everyone else thought that this show was a collaboration and they're all working together. And he was like, oh, y'all want to show up in our territory on our no, it's not.
Like,
I'm not
Mikey,
stand for this.
Mikey, you trying to take my spot? Like,
you want to be the ace?
Nah, hold it, Shote.
Bro, when he gave her that freaking slap, I couldn't believe he did that. Like, I don't know. I was shocked. It was really funny.
We need to go ahead and get that clip and then like edit it in with that one you always talk about, Josh, and that's what you get for dealing with the ace.
Oh my god!
But what I liked about it is what you mentioned earlier, James, is that like this wasn't a cookie cutter. Every single one of these mixed tags were all the same. They were all different flavors and ways to kind of work these matches. They all offered something different, and it was really fun and cool.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, in a world where I'm the person that's in charge of the multi-million-dollar wrestling promotions or whatever else, and can have the final say so, I let them go out there and do like Marufuji and Asuka versus like Meiko Satomura and Minoru Suzuki. But you're not getting 7,000 people. You're not getting 7,000 people to arena to watch like Minoru Suzuki beat the living shit out of Asuka like that. You know what I'm saying? Or Asuka Kana. You know what I mean? Like so no. But like this was very entertaining for all the stuff they did. And I thought like, ultimately like, yeah, everybody, the men that got their shit in or whatever else, like they got that shit back.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that, that's the main thing to make it work.
I wish that this grace of women allowing women to be hit was extended to when Will Ospreay dropped B Priestley.
Bro, I was literally gonna say the same thing.
Not a soul has come up in uproar about Hiroshi Tanahashi slapping this woman, even though these were two pro wrestlers that agreed to this. Just like it was two pro wrestlers that agreed to this thing when people were reviling in horror and trying to run a griff about Will.
Wasn't it a cutter? Wasn't it RKO?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now you tell me what. You tell me what gets more. No. You tell me what gets more. What gets more calls or whatever else. Let's say on Wednesday, one of the male wrestlers hitting somebody with an RKO or somebody hitting somebody with a damn open hand slap.
It should be the slap. You would think.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. Like hell, think about it like this. Right. Randy Orton did that in a Royal Rumble with Nia like 2-3 years ago. No one said shit.
The nuance of those who are going to argue against it is they're going to say that this was a situation where it was two wrestlers agreeing to compete in a competitive, moment. Whereas Will Ospreay and B, that was something that was taking place outside of the confines of a sporting event where it happened literally at a sporting event. No, but it happened in a ring. Yeah, but it was post-match, and they were clearly like, they were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time, and so it was depiction of domestic violence. It's like what they're literally saying. That's what they. You have a point. However, I would say to you, it is agree. It's not my point. I'm telling you what they said. I don't agree with it. I would say those people have a degree of a point. I would say that it is all entertainment at the end of the day. Also, I mean, they are wrestlers who were working together. Right, it was agreed upon. It's agreed upon. All of these situations.
Look, man, if someone does I can promise you, if there was actual domestic violence happening, right, or any type of simulation of domestic violence in real life, they wouldn't be doing a fucking RKO to do it. Like,
but I will say is like it this all comes down to who the people are that does the thing, right? Like, and that's the point that you're making with the Tanahashi thing compared to Ospreay, like. That is who it is definitely the reason why it caused that kind of elicited that kind of 100% talk at the time when it happened. Absolutely. And I'm willing to listen to someone talk about like how like that was given that was a relationship or she was a manager or valet, however you want to frame it or whatever else. Like she was a contracted professional wrestler for the same company that owns New Japan. So I can see why someone could be like that's problematic. I could definitely see that, but like I wouldn't put it on my television personally.
You know who else agrees with you? B. Priestley. She said so publicly. So, I mean, I don't know what everyone was freaking out about. But I will tell you this. If Will Ospreay was in this match, and this isn't a cap for the guy, but if Will Ospreay was in this match and he put the boots to Micah, the internet would be on fire right now. Like, we would not hear the end of it. But we've heard nothing about Tanahashi doing it. You know why? Because he's the fucking ace.
Another reason. He's the ace.
But yeah, so the match concluded. Utami hit the hijack bomb on Micah, got the pin there. And then post match, we got Tanahashi and Utami playing the air guitar in tandem to close off that segment.
You know why? Because they're the ace, and Micah and Goto are Goto. That's why.
That's it.
The G stands for geeks.
It was funny to me because it's like Utami, while she is like an incredible wrestler, like she it was as if like this was all like done spontaneously. She was not expecting to do this. She didn't know how to. I have never even considered the idea of or considered an air guitar. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing up there. And she was just like, "Look, I'm just out here having fun and whatever else." And I really enjoyed the smile on her face and all that kind of stuff. It's like, you never in a million years while she started training for this shit. Like, she was just trying to train to have a match with Io Shirai before she left for WWE, and she did. Like, you think that all of a sudden, like, she just imagine, like, if I keep doing this, I'll just be on the top of a ramp in Ariake Arena with fucking Tanahashi doing air guitar. Never in a million years. Like, she was happy as hell, and I was happy for her. So, congratulations, Utami, with your goofy ass self.
Zach Porter says Micah and Hiroki Goto were sent to go sit under a waterfall together.
They both done that at different times in their careers. Yes.
Every time I take a cold shower, I try to think of Goto and like will myself. To take
sorry,
a cold
what?
shower.
You know?
Yeah, I go like this, and I try to withstand it.
When I take a shower, I just think of washing my ass thoroughly. But okay, or whatever music is playing, I don't really be thinking about like dudes or wrestlers in general, but whatever.
Well, I'm always thinking about wrestling and dudes at all times, so I don't know what to tell you.
While showering.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. How's Megan?
She's sleeping. She's in the other room. She's doing well.
Does she know that you think about dudes when you shower?
Yeah. She's well aware.
What?
Okay, moving on to the next match.
Went off the rails.
So we had a 10-man tag here. United Empire, Francisco Akira, Lord Gideon Gray, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis, and TJP. They defeated the LIJ team of Bushi, Hiromu, Sanada, Shingo, and Tetsuya Naito. So again, this is kind of continuing the rivalry with United Empire and LIJ based off of what was going on with Ospreay and Naito. Plus, you have Kira and TJP. They're the current junior tag team champs in the junior tag league, and Bushi's in the tag league team up with Teton. So a little preview there. And then Aussie opens in the World Tag League as well as Naito and Sonata. So some preview stuff for that. And I gotta say, Bushi, he's super low on totem pole. He lost in a match where Gideon Gray was on the other end.
I didn't even think of that.
This man Bushi is a bum, a geek.
The B in Bushi stands for bum.
This man couldn't win a multi-man match with Lord Gideon, the manager, on the other side.
This is great.
You know what?
Hilarious.
I in my mind initially, I'm thinking like that's really harsh. And then I think about like what Gideon Gray does in New Japan, and like he's a manager. You're right.
Yes.
You're right.
Mouthpiece.
Look, you're right. I don't like that you're right. That's like that's this is what this is. I'm trying to, in my mind, I want to be like, it's not that bad. You ain't gotta, I'm like, you ain't gotta go there. You're not wrong, but you ain't gotta go there. Damn.
But I love it because I love Lord Gideon Gray. He's been great since he's been in New Japan and announcing United Empire and when he wrestles and the antics. Like, this man is gold. He is money, and I love me some Lord Gideon Gray.
Lord Gideon Gray is
Naito
the best
really
manager persona in wrestling today, period. Nobody's better.
Like, legitimately, you think so? Like, I'm honestly asking, I don't even know. Like, because I haven't watched as much as you have, obviously.
1,000,000%. There's no one today in AEW or WWE or anywhere that I know of that's better than this guy. He's the best.
Okay. Are you okay with him wrestling, or do you prefer it if he stayed out the ring?
I love when he's wrestling. He's terrible. But he's not actually terrible. He's the perfect.
He's a geek.
He's the perfect managerial wrestler. Like, he's better than Gato. He's better than everybody. He's great.
Okay.
Yeah, and the whole story of his family like paying for him to get the best wrestling training, but
he stinks.
Yeah,
but sorry.
Hey, Kevin Kelly called.
At least like his dad isn't like a legendary wrestler, and he's just sorry. I think that's actually worse.
Yeah.
Megan walked
Go ahead, say it who you want to say. Go ahead.
Dom Mysterio.
There you go.
That's not like kayfabe. That's just a shoot. Megan walked in during this match, during the part where Kevin Kelly was trying to put down, because that's his bit. He puts down Lord Gideon Gray, but like Waka didn't get it, and then so he's just like, he's so ugly, and like Megan's like, why is that man being so mean to that other man? I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah. Was it Gideon or was it Mark Davis? He was calling it ugly.
It was Gideon.
He was talking about Lord Gideon Gray, but Mark Davis was the one in the ring. So if you weren't like, so it, like you might, I was kind of the same way. I was like, who's he talking about? And I was like, oh,
okay,
it's Gideon Gray. It has to be because he is ugly.
Yeah, he was bearing and he's like, Waka.
That's his gimmick, is to be ugly. I can't help it.
He's a bad person. And Waka's like, what? He is?
She's like, he's a nice guy.
Even called that man a money mark. Like, he's a money mark. He likes to hang out with the fans, take pictures with wrestlers.
She was like, oh.
There's an entire culture around sponsorship.
No.
Entire culture of sponsorship in Japan. Like, that's not a bad thing. And he's like, money mark.
Bro, we have to find someone that is a sponsor that is willing to come and talk about and be proud of what they do. Like, when the wrestlers come, to our country, we show them a good time and we'll go on the audio, on the air with us and talk about it.
Well, the only one I can think of would be like Massa, right?
Yeah, Massa,
yeah. Well, once I resume my wrestling career, I expect Social Suplex to sponsor me in that way.
Well, you can expect whatever you want, That's just like paying bills, like D.L. Hughley used to say, bill collector call you, when can we expect payment? Motherfucker, you can expect it whenever you want.
Oh my god.
Same energy.
Oh man! So, like I said, United
this match was good, by the way.
Yeah, this was a pretty.
They
fun
flew around. They flew around. It went short, and obviously, it had the goofy, some of the goofball stuff with Gideon Gray. Yeah,
but these are in my opinion, I think these are the two best multi-man units. LIJ and United Empire. Every time they're together, they do really good. And I thought this was really good.
Yeah, Aussie Open, they hit the Coriolis on Bushi to get the win here. So they're pushing Aussie Open really strong going into this World Tag League, which everybody is predicting they're going to win so they can do FTR Aussie Open 2, Commerce Kingdom 17, January 4th.
Unless the Bucks have something to say about it.
Carry on my wayward. Who's that?
Then you'll start hearing that rumbling. Oh,
Michael Jackson.
When we were before we were recording the show, like Rich was singing the song by Kansas, and I was like, "Bitch, you didn't like that till Saturday." He's like, "I never heard of that song until Saturday."
Yeah, he told me the same thing. I think yesterday. Yeah,
it's so funny.
Oh my god!
He's like, it's catchy.
Catchy.
Look at that music altered tag on New Japan World though.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to a unfortunate music altering thing later, but yeah, it was a fun match. I would have wished they went longer. I wish they had taken like 5 minutes from the semi-main event and put it towards this, or actually 5 minutes from the match that followed this. To be honest with you,
I didn't need that because this show was 5 hours already.
We could have dropped the whole House of Torture match, and
we could have cut that.
Well, yeah.
But then we wouldn't have any Bullet Club representation here.
We were talking about this before we started recording.
You say that like it's a bad thing in 2022.
When I woke up and started the show, I did not expect a 5 hours. I did not think I was watching a Wrestle Kingdom level show.
It was 9
time.
It was 9 matches. Right?
I know. I
9 matches plus pre-show.
I didn't think they're getting 5 hours. I thought we were going to get like a smooth 3.5 hour show, literally.
You know what? You would have had it been Rossi booking this show, but it was a New Japan card, so everything had to go super long.
Oh, so everything bad is Gato's fault. Okay.
Rich, how long was the Budokan Hall show that went 10 matches?
I'm just joking. I don't
3.5 hours. Stardom just gets the fuck on. Like, it just goes on and moves.
Moves, baby. But the next match we had, it was Great Muta's quote unquote last New Japan match. So Great Muta was teaming up with Kazuchika Okada and Toru Yano. They defeated the United Empire team of Aaron Hanare, Great Okan, and Jeff Cobb, 9 minutes and 48 seconds.
Keep getting them checks, Great Muta. Keiji Muto.
Man, Muto came out there and was sorry. Like, cut the shit. Like, look, we've been saying this for a while now. The only thing this man has are shining wizards, shining elbows,
miss
and dragon screws. That's all he has. He has nothing else, and that's what was on display here.
There was no moonsault.
Yeah, no moonsault.
They're saving that for the dome.
You know, you got to have Great Muta's last New Japan Tokyo Dome match.
Correct.
Well, no. This was Great Muta's last match.
Right.
No one has said
Keiji
anything
Muto.
about Keiji Muto's last New Japan match.
Correct.
I thought that was one that what was the bill for Wrestle Kingdom 3, Wrestle Kingdom Night 3 last year? No?
I mean, it wasn't formally announced.
Okay, I misremembered that then. Okay, never mind.
I fully expect Keiji Muto to have a match on 1-4. 100%.
Yeah, I think I pitched a match to Josh earlier, which I could see pretty plausible because Naito's kind of not doing anything.
Naito, oh my god!
So it's
you know what? You know what's funny is like I actually said that on the air, and I forgot you were the one who told it to me, and I thought that I came up with it, but you're right. Like I think that's the match.
It's like Tanahashi and Muto against Naito and Sonata.
Yeah, that's the match that I brought up as well. I think that's what they're gonna do because none of those guys are doing anything else.
It's better than I thought you were saying they're going to just do like Muto versus Naito.
Lord Gideon Gray, right?
Like, oh,
bro,
man, that's awful.
During the preview for the show, I was nervous that because he was teamed up with Okada and they have nothing to do with one another, that this was going to be a bridge to getting an Okada versus Muto title match in like February or March before his retirement.
It might be. You ain't out the water on that.
Yeah, we're still not.
There's still plenty of time for that to play out.
You say you as though like I'm New Japan. Like
yes, you.
James is not amused by this.
The one thing I will say, Great Muta, aside from his time in Jim Crockett, has never been a great wrestler. Like even when Keiji Muto was a good wrestler, Great Muta was never like all the things you guys listed that he's just, this and this. Well, yeah, that's all Great Muta's ever been. He's never had great matches. So this kind of worked for me in that context.
I mean, I kind of like the Liger. I kind of like the Liger match when Keishin Liger came out, but whatever.
I like that. I like his matches, but he himself, they're more spectacle based. They're more.
That's true. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I was just pointing out this, like, even while that is the case,
the man can't move.
Right? He just like, did you see him go down the stairs?
Yeah, that man was struggling.
He's bow-legged. He's having a lot of issues.
It's like, bro, just go home and stay there.
That man was hitting dull wizards, not shiny wizards.
No, look, dull wizards. Them wizards were not making no contact. None.
One thing I will say though is that regardless of what you feel about Keiji Muto or the Great Muta, I thought that the trio that he was against were great. They played off of him impeccably.
Yes.
And I don't know if you guys saw the post match. They basically there was the mist into Jeff Cobb's face, which was the green mist, and then there was the red mist that went into Great O'Khan's eyes. Well, during the post match promo, Jeff Cobb cut one of the fieriest promos, but because he was blinded, he was facing the poster the entire time, so his back's to the camera.
I missed that because I ended up having to skip through non-match sections to kind of catch up. But that's hilarious.
He's like, Great Buddha, we're gonna get you, because he doesn't know which way to face. It's so funny.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this match, it was what it was. Nice. It's a nice moment for Great Muta.
Do y'all have a star rating for this match?
2.5.
I'd go 3. I thought it was.
I think I went 3.
I gave it fine. I gave it 2 3/4.
It was fine for what it was. I mean, it's just
Not really.
Muta send off.
Judging this seriously.
Yeah,
I was. I was
the reason he was is because it's technically a Stardom show.
I mean, I rate all these things, so it's whatever.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the semi.
Muda's out here bringing down the average.
He was. he really was.
On a team with Toru Yano, we're blaming Muda.
Right. Bro, Okada was in the match for only the closing sequence. He wasn't in for any other part. And I was like, hey, man, this is... I know Okada's on his ring, up on this apron what is this? Why did they put me into this situation here?
We're not even Yano fans like that, but James really hates Yano, so I didn't even think about that.
Yano's just completely... I don't hate him. I just find him to be useless.
Right. Okay. That's.
I don't hate him. I just think he's not for me, and the stuff he does annoys me. I don't hate him. I'm trying to think of wrestlers I actually hate.
All I'm saying is those two guys on a team together is not ideal.
I'm anti-fan of him. Yeah, sure. You're right on that part. I'm not a fan of his at all.
All right, moving on to the semi-main event, we had the IWGP United States Heavyweight title on the line. The champion, the Commonwealth Kingpin, Will Ospreay. He defends and defeats the Roughneck Shooter Shota Umino. 23 minutes and 30 seconds.
This is an awesome match, man. Shota Umino is very impressive. He looks like he's rededicated himself to physical fitness from that time where he was kind of at his low in the UK, where we getting all those bad reports about him. Ever since I saw him at Forbidden Door, it feels like he's turned this thing all the way around. I think he's going to be a superstar. I have no worries about him, and he is needed in the landscape of New Japan. I think he's got it all, and there's somebody he's going to be replacing. I'm not going to put it on air, but I'm just going to sit with that thought for myself.
Is it basically the same person? He has the same hair and goatee as?
I'd rather not say.
Oh, okay.
But another one for Will. We already know how talented this guy is, and this match was sensational.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I think over the past year, from the previous 2 matches that these two guys had, me and Jeremy both said on the air that the tools are there, but they haven't fully put it together. There's definitely a better match that's, down the pipeline for them. And they went out there and they really delivered it here. I think they took all the best parts of the UK match and expanded on it and just told a much better story. And this is the most complete, like you mentioned, Rich, the most complete that we've seen Shooter Umino look, especially in this past like maybe 6 months where they've really started to tease and play around with the idea of bringing him back, giving him different high profile matches. This is the one where he like really knocked it out of the park and showed that he is able to hang on that level for a prolonged period of time in a New Japan style main event, working the house style. So I thought the match was great. I thought the story was great. I loved Will Ospreay's entrance attire, the homage to Hayabusa. Like, that was really cool. And then obviously we'll talk about the post match, but I thought it was a really, really great match. I went 4.5 on it.
Yeah, I hated it too.
Same.
Yeah, 4.5. Really awesome matchup. I thought Umino was wrestling his ass off. Like, he was showing, like, all right, like, I am here to be the next top star in this promotion. I thought he looked the most crisp I've seen him look, the best shape I've seen him look, the most confident I've seen him look. A lot of times, what Rich was talking about on Excursion, like, he was put in these big spots. He had matches with Ospreay. He had matches with Ricky Knight Jr. You put him in some of these big spots, and he did not look confident. The other guys were kind of carrying him, but now it's completely different. He has full confidence. Like, wrestling was great, super speed. He was keeping up with Ospreay. I really enjoyed Umino here, and I think he's kind of getting, it's almost the Jay White treatment here, where you lose your first big singles match, but then that ultimately will catapult you into bigger and better things.
And I like the dynamic with his dad too, because it's like, it's clearly there, and Red Shoes like doesn't even want to look at him at times, like, and he so badly wants to treat him like every other wrestler or whatever. But you just kind of always see it there. And like the day like Red Shoes like breaks, like when he wins like the IWGP title or something, that shit's gonna be special.
Okay, so I have a question. Maybe it's because I was up against time on this. I gave it 4.5 like y'all did. But I felt like at times in this match, it felt like to me, it's a total Ospreay match. Do you guys feel like you know what a Shota Umino match feels like or looks like yet?
No, not yet.
No.
Okay. And I mean, but we kind of felt that way.
I'm not saying this as if it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, do you feel like you know yet what his actual thing is? Because this felt like just a total entire Will Ospreay production.
The only young lion I can remember returning from Excursion and being fully formed and being able to dictate the style of the match was probably Hiromu. And after him, nobody. It's pretty rare that they come in and, are at that level to where you kind of know what their match looks like,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, thought it was a really great matchup. Yeah. The closing stretch, they did play off the Royal Quest match with the elbow to the back of the head, but Umino got to the ropes, and then it's the closing sequence with Ospreay killing this man with the hidden blade leading into the Stormbreaker and the big win there. And of course, post match, we got the big news. The screen, arena lights went down in the arena, and one Kenny Omega appears on the screen, talking about how he's come to save the promotion. The crowds got smaller, they got quiet. He's here to change all of that.
The real virus is Will.
Yes. And you said, when New Japan called him, he was surprised that he's not interested, but in the good for pro wrestling and to save this promotion, he's gonna do it. He's going to wrestle Will Ospreay January 4th for the IWGP US title. And, we had a lot of questions about this match in this segment. I'm just going to run through these questions and we can just have a discussion about this. So Craigie D said, who should Ospreay lose the US title to? Viking Pain says, I know you guys are Kenny Omega fans, but Will Ospreay should not be losing to another outsider like him. If Gato feeds the best wrestler in the world who's signed to the company and not even 30 to 40-year-old Kenny Omega, who's not even part of the company anymore, I'm done with New Japan. Les Commission 7252 says, do you think that the match between Omega and Ospreay will be the same level of attraction a few years ago between Jericho and Omega? The suspension of the Elite stall a feud, both the return of Omega back to Japan and having his first match back in the Tokyo Dome in over 3 years. This feels like the biggest attraction at Wrestle Kingdom ever since Alpha and Omega. And with Chris Charlton acknowledging that Omega versus Ospreay might as well be the main event, do you guys think that it's right for New Japan to hold a vote for the fans to see who would represent the main event at Wrestle Kingdom? Adam says there were lots of hints throughout the show. They'll be cheering in the Dome next year, from Kevin Kelly on the commentary to Kenny saying it wasn't because of the pandemic that people weren't cheering. What do you think the odds are that we get cheering? I'm 6 for 10 right now. Rambo and Slam Pig says, what's the chance that any other match can top what Ospreay and Kenny are about to unleash on us at the Dome? It's a world title match going on after them, a mistake given the relative coldness of that program. And the Dark Soldier says, even though it's disrespectful to the world title, should Wrestle Kingdom main event with the U.S. title match? It already feels hotter than the world title match and more fresh. Though I want Okada and Jay to have a great match, Omega and Ospreay feels more special and more like a main event.
It's a lot of questions saying the same thing.
Yes.
All hail Caesar's home. Kenny's returning to the Dome.
The only thing I thought when I listened to this was, Kenny was telling Will that there was no real virus, that the real virus was Will Ospreay. I mean, it sounds a little bit, deniery of Kenny. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, obviously, like the whole promo was saying that, like, the crowds were quiet, and he goes like, well, people say it was a pandemic, but it wasn't really. It was like, yeah, it was a pandemic. They have masks on. It's illegal for them to talk. What are you talking about, Kenny? Like, he's just being a dick. It is great because, like,
so
Kenny Omega's at his best when he is a smug dick to a Japanese audience. So yeah, that's how it works.
They broke the law though that day when that video came on.
They sound like they loved him.
They broke the law when they broke the law when what's name broke out the One Wing Angel in the Grand Prix. I do this now where like I interchange like Grand Prix and G1 now depending on whichever one I'm not talking about now. But anyway, like when they did the Ospreay and Okada final when he hit the One Wing Angel, like the crowd broke the law then too. Like it's a thing.
Man, it's fitting that on the week of, we make our return, or I make my return to Keepin It Strong Style. Kenny Omega shows back up in New Japan. What fortuitous timing here. I welcome the pure elitists to get upset about Kenny Omega coming back to the Dome. I welcome all the old memories of bitterness and anger and resentment for the best bout machine, a Hall of Famer. I'm reading this question from Viking Payne. Shout out to him. It was pretty interesting. I think these are some things you should consider, right? Because he's, the last thing he wrapped it up with was he's going to be done with New Japan if Kenny wins, right? He said, Will's not even 30 yet. I believe Will's 29. He said 40-year-old Kenny, I believe Kenny's 39. Kenny, a man that has not displayed any signs of like aging or falling off or anything like that. So I don't think age is the argument that you might want to make there. I would consider, if you're thinking about Will Ospreay, New Japan Pro Wrestling, the partnership with AEW, there are a lot worse things that can happen than Kenny Omega winning the first match. If that's gonna like send you off, like consider this. If you're you would be asking for a big favor in that case, right? And let's keep it a buck. The company with the upper hand here is AEW. Between New Japan and AEW, they're doing them a solid by giving Kenny to them that day. Now, if you're giving a clean job, say, all right, we do the clean job for Kenny Omega. What do you think is AEW is going to ask for in return? And down the road, it can be bigger than that. Like, could they hand Kenny back the IWGP Championship? Like, these are the things like you have to consider. Like when you're saying like,
well, they put it on Jay White. Why couldn't they put it on Kenny Omega again?
So
Right.
I would be, you know, I wouldn't marry yourself to the idea of like, you know, unless you're, you know, just really done with it, you know, that's your prerogative, right? But if this is a true working relationship,
if you want to be done with it over that, then you may as well just be done with it now, because like there ain't that much that's holding you. To be honest, if this is what breaks your back, to be honest with you, you might as well just go on your journey without New Japan Pro Wrestling if like this one thing is what ends it for you.
Yeah,
this isn't Goldberg being shocked with the fucking cattle prod. Relax.
I think part of the idea is that like if Will Ospreay loses, and then doesn't get his win back or something, it's some sort of injustice, you know.
There's no way that they're doing this series and Will Ospreay doesn't beat him at some point.
Exactly, and I think that
Kenny Omega wouldn't do it that way.
No, I agree, and I think people are sort of missing the point that if he does lose here, he's going to get the, you know, favor returned, basically. Yeah. The other question I have about it is, okay, I know some people feel some sort of way about both of these guys, just depending on where they stand in their fandom. But what if at the end of the day, this ends up being the greatest match in the history of wrestling? Because
then they'll lie. Huh? Then they'll just lie and say it wasn't. You know how this goes.
Yeah, they hate both of these guys. Like they hate everything about Kenny, and they hate everything about Will, because Will's really the next Kenny. And all throughout this thing, in the promo, Kenny told the truth. It was never Jay White. Jay White's about to get sent out there after them, and poor Kazuchika Okada that has to follow this. Jay White, the real replacement, was always Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay's the one everyone has been afraid of for years, just like they were afraid of Kenny. They never were in fear of Jay White like that. Like, why? Because Ospreay has the same juice about pushing wrestling forward that Kenny had, and they don't like that shit, and it burns them up. And when these boys smoke the dome, I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna watch them lie. I'm gonna watch them scramble, and I'm gonna watch them cap, and then we gonna watch the star ratings that come in.
Yeah, I mean, this match is going to be nothing less but incredible. As far as whether or not it should main event or not, I mean,
that's a worthy question.
It's very tough. Obviously, it's in Japan, and it's going to be very hard to put two foreigners in the main event of the biggest show of the year. But however, like a lot of people mentioned, this does feel like a big attraction. It feels bigger than the main event. You had your English commentary team saying this is bigger than any title match that you can get. So it feels bigger than anything that's really happening right now in New Japan.
I mean, it wouldn't be if like Jay White wasn't the champion, but they made Jay White the champion. That was their mistake.
I mean, I still think it would still feel pretty big regardless who the champion was. But I mean, yes, with the Jay White as champion and just how cold this Jay White Okada program has been, we've been talking about it the last several weeks now. I mean, they really haven't done much to really heat it up. They're doing it by the numbers, road to multi-man matchups. And because there were no briefcase defenses, there was only one Jay White title defense this fall. They've been dragging all this cut and paste road to formula on since the G1s ended. We'll get all these multi-man matches. There's been like no pull aparts, no brutal attacks, no scathing promos,
no
like
stipulation or anything. Like,
yeah, nothing. It's just straight up Jay Okada, which is going to be a great match. Those guys have great matches together, but it just feels there's like no buzz or anything intriguing about it.
And this is a direct rematch of 6 months ago, so like that's like also something else working. There's a lot
with a return with a back-to-back G1 winner. So was it last night I was talking to you about this, Richard, night before? I was talking about like, I think. Okay, last night we were like, okay, so if they're doing this Okada program, it's probably in line with like what we all thought it was going to be like after after Ospreay beat Naito in the semifinal of the G1 at Budokan Hall, where it's like, okay, AEW and New Japan seem to be setting up for him to have like this like championship run, like all time thing where they're putting together like you're gonna have a program with Okada, you're gonna have a program with Omega, and it's set for you to probably beat both of them and be the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, World Heavyweight Champion, whatever they call it now. So if that is the case, Okada, obviously, Ospreay has to win the G1 next year because he came this close to winning it this year. And if he does that, who does he have to face at Wrestle Kingdom 2 years from now? Or 380 something days from now, 390 some days from now. Has to be Okada. So if that's the case, doesn't that mean Okada's about to get the belt right back from Jay White more likely than not? So why do we even if that's the case, why do we put the belt on Jay White to begin with?
Something to do.
And that's how you end up with this situation where like Omega comes in with Ospreay, and you're like, shit, most people won't look at this as main event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I fully agree with the projections of what's going to happen long term with the Ospreay and Okada stuff, but yeah, I mean,
he has to beat him at some point.
No, he does. I just don't know if it's going to happen with that exact scenario or whatever.
Okay,
but,
that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When it comes to that match in particular, it's just, it's pretty cold. I think they took the title off Okada just so he could win it back.
Do you think they should just win with Naito instead?
Huh?
Do you think they should just win with Naito winning G1 this year instead?
I think Naito should have I think Naito should have beat Jay White for the title in the lead up to this match.
Okay.
But I mean, I guess putting all that aside, I'm excited that we're getting Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, and I feel like that's sort of lost in the discourse of all this,
because it's already started.
There's so many other things that people are talking about and arguments, all that stuff, and it's just kind of stupid.
I just think maybe it's from my perspective. It was like I think this match is one of the matches I like think of most of like the match that I most want to see between two people that have like never had like some big stakes match together or big high profile match together. He's probably one of the first handful of people I put together in a matchup in that situation, and then like from there is like like I'm with it. There's nothing we really further discuss, and I'm thinking like, all right, so like what else is like seems to be what's more interesting to me? What interesting is like how do we end up with Okada and Jay White being the presumed title match or whatever else? Like why did they think this was going to be like, at the time when they really need to sell tickets, why did they think this was going to be the thing that was going to put them over the top? I guess maybe that's, it's unfair to like connect it that way. But like once I see that match, I'm like, all right, what's the main event? Oh, that's the main event. And then I get to those questions. That's all.
Yeah. And maybe it's the thing where the Omega Ospreay thing didn't come together maybe until later. And the plans were always Jay White, Okada. And then they got handed this gem of a matchup.
I mean, there was definitely times where they thought it was going to be off because of what happened with CM Punk or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely a play.
It's going to be interesting because they've already done pretty well on tickets, relatively speaking already. It's going to be interesting to see if they get an increase or a bump from this match in particular. It'll kind of tell a lot about the drawing ability of this particular matchup,
Yeah, and they're pushing international ticket sales really hard. They created this whole little package you can do where
you get on Monday, right?
Yeah, you get meet and greets. You get to have like lunch with Kevin Kelly and Chris Charlton and go to New Year's Dash and Wrestle Kingdom. So there's this whole package New Japan's doing for international tickets, and they're definitely trying to get more, Westerners and international fans over for that show and, one night show. And yeah, they're throwing a lot of big guns here. And I think, like Josh mentioned, ticket sales are already surpassing some of the pandemic domes. And so it's going to be, kind of back to the old school, one night show with a great crowd.
Yeah. I would be interested if they, I'm not saying it needs to go to a vote, but if they did put it to a vote, I would be hilarious. I would be interested in the results.
I would too. But I mean, also, I think it might not be the same exact feeling for the domestic audience as it is for like the Western fans,
What that was Wrestle Kingdom 8, right?
Yeah.
What beat Naito and Okada? What was it? I forgot. Tanahashi and who? Nakamura?
Nakamura.
That's what it was. Okay, yeah.
I'm trying to see. I don't see any other match that's topping them. Rambones. I don't think it's a mistake.
On that show?
Yeah, on that show.
No.
No.
The world title going on last, I think the world title should go on last, but that's on them. We know what the real main event is.
I mean, that used to be the Kenny Omega world title.
Yeah, that Kenny's winning back the Kenny Omega world title. I would be very happy about that. But yeah, man, I think Ospreay and Omega are like two of the most gifted and phenomenal wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. There's a really cool story between them as far as a lot of time in sports, greats of that just miss each other, right? We never got to see LeBron and Kobe in the finals or something like that. It's like ships passing in the night. And the fact we're getting this and Kenny's come back off an injury looking as close to, his peak as he's ever been. And we know what kind of run Will is on. I would just tell people to enjoy the fact that this is even fucking happening, because this is this is top level shit. This is top level shit. This is there's so much when you really break it down that you can think about narratively that lines up with this. And their promos are really heated. They've been working on this thing for a while, and I'm sure both guys want to prove something to themselves, to everyone else, and I'm sure they have we know what Kenny was telling Will when Kenny left New Japan, the responsibility he gave him. He didn't go up to anybody else and say, this is your shit now. So I'm sure there's a lot of respect between those guys. I think is going to be cool to see play out in the ring.
There was also that sort of dream match essence to it, similar to what we saw when Jericho did the same thing to Kenny Omega. And if this match had happened in any other time in their careers, it just wouldn't be what it is today, which, it's kind of crescendoing where both guys are at this, top level, not just from a performance standpoint, but also character wise, and they're at their hottest. So this happening now is from that standpoint, this is the perfect time to do a big dream match like this. And yeah, I think we might literally see one of the greatest matches that has ever happened.
Devil Sky, baby. Devil Sky, baby. Let's go.
And for people who are worried about Ospreay losing, I mean, post match he's cutting a promo saying, maybe he needs to bring back the assassin. You haven't seen the aerial assassin in a while. To me, that screams Naito trying to bring back Stardust Genius and failing. So this could be Ospreay thinking he needs to do something, be the aerial assassin to try and meet Omega, and then that costs him and he loses. And so then he learns, all right, maybe I don't need to go back to the past. I need to be Will Ospreay today to beat Omega, and you get the rematch, and he beats him then. So there's a lot of story elements that could lead to Ospreay losing. And I think it would be fine because he's going to get the win back. They're going to do a story. It will be compelling.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll be talking about this more as we, build to Wrestle Kingdom 17. Let's talk about this main event here real quick. We had the crowning of the first ever IWGP Women's Champion in the finals of this tournament.
They gave out the toy, the trinket.
The trinket. The Pirate Princess Kairi, she defeated Mayu Iwatani 25 minutes and 28 seconds in one heck of a main event. This was awesome.
Yes. I went 4 3/4 on this match. I think this is Kairi's best match since she's been back. I think some of her matches have just been okay. And it really hasn't I don't think she's really got to stretch her legs much in main events, but this weekend kind of belonged to her, I think. And it was, it was cool to see her win. I had picked Mayu going into it, and I think a lot of people were upset Mayu lost. But for me, this kind of comes down to, what we kind of thought this belt would be. And we know New Japan and, they like people from WWE. Kairi's a big name internationally, and they're gonna start it with her. Who says Mayu can't win it one day? But I do understand those people that were wanting Mayu to win. But this match was sensational. Lots of emotion, lots of just physicality, and just kicking the shit out of each other. Like this was they came through and delivered heavy, and I was proud to have like been following Stardom to let them for them to lead with a main event like this in this fashion, because there's a lot of like people that they not beyond Josh who's doing a gimmick, if you guys didn't know, like that come out here and just say that they don't like Joshi, they don't understand it, they don't do anything. I feel like I could fucking put an alien here and let them watch this match, and they could figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this match. I mean, I think we could probably safely say this is the greatest women's match in the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling. But I enjoyed it to the point where I'm the same rating as you, Rich. I'm 4 3/4. I thought this was, for me, the match of the weekend anywhere in the world, including AEW and what I saw in Stardom. I thought that this was a truly fitting inaugural title crowning match. And the story that was kind of laid out with these two women and the history that they had with one another, and with Kyrie leaving and then coming back and everything like that, it just all kind of fit together. The tournament was booked to crescendo here, and it really paid off. It was awesome. And the match itself, I mean, it had a little bit of everything in there. You saw the chain grappling, you saw some of the high speed spots, you saw, great heat and everything. People were, there's high flying, but what I loved was like the violent nature of it when they were going blow for blow, and the back, I forget what it's called, but the back fists and just
cutlass.
Yeah, there was some really, really brutal stuff in here, which really impressed me. I don't know. I thought this match was incredible. And as far as the outcome goes with Kyrie, it just, to me, from a business standpoint, I always thought this is what they were going to do. Keep in mind, I'm not a Stardom viewer, so maybe being on the outside looking in, it's a little different. But to me, she's this hot commodity that they've invested into that is currently not hot and kind of needed something to catapult and push her back to the status she was previously. So I think, Mayu at this point is almost sort of like Tanahashi and can be fine after a loss like this. And, it still probably has a lot more to achieve. And like Rich said, probably could win this title down the road. But I think not only for the audience in the West, but also for Kyrie herself, it makes sense across the board for her to be the first champion and, put the attention back on her and maybe heat her back up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like we've mentioned the last couple of weeks, this title is going to be used for, strong tours and strong pay-per-views. And Kyrie has that WWE experience and fan base and exposure here in America. So if you also, Mayu does have some exposure too, but not to that level. Mayu's done a lot of Ring of Honor, and I think a lot of diehard fans know who she is. But I would assume that more people probably know who Kyrie is based off of her time in NXT and the main roster. So using her as a draw on these strong tapings, these strong pay-per-views they've been doing, like Windy City Riot and Capital Collision. You can use her to draw, especially if they want to try and run a little bit of bigger buildings. I think that'd be an interesting attraction. But yeah, overall, the match was great. I also went 4.75, and yeah, I gasped so many times at Kyrie when she was doing the spinning back fists, and she was killing Mayu with those. And of course, Mayu's bumping around like crazy, like her neck is just made of springs, or it's Gumby clay. And so yeah, they told an incredible story. Obviously, there's a ton of backstory with the whole being 2 or 3 daughters of Stardom, just kind of their history here. Like we mentioned earlier, Waka added a lot of great stuff too throughout this match, and how emotional she was getting and just crying as the match was going on. But yeah, just really, really incredible matchup. A great way to kind of kick off this lineage and legacy of the IWGP Women's title.
Dr. Joshi, tag in, hot tag.
I don't have much more to say than what y'all already said. I will say that, my stupid phone gave me a push notification in the middle of recording the post show thing for All Out. I'm sorry, not All Out. Full Gear yesterday. So like in the middle of the podcast, I look down at my phone's post notification. It says Kyrie wins IWGP. Fuck. Tam Nakano. Fuck. Like what? Anyway, so like my initial viewing thing is ruined. I'm gonna have to watch it again to get an idea of like how I felt watching it for real, because like I'm always lower on matches that when I already know the result, and then like the second time watching I kind of get like an actual deeper appreciation for the match. But generally speaking, like this is very much like their last two title matches from 2015 to 17. The red belt match was in 2015. 2017 was the white belt match. Kyrie won the 2015 match for red belt. Mayu won the white belt match in 2017 before Kyrie left for WWE. And it fits in line. It's more physical than both of those, just for the brutality of just the brutality of like the spinning back fist. But generally speaking, like Kyrie, when she has big title matches, when she was in Stardom at first, before she left for WWE, was like, I am going to work over your core. I'm going to work over your core, like Bret Hart style. There's going to be, obviously, I'm going to do other stuff besides it, but like I'm going to focus on your core, and then I'm going to drop an elbow on your back, and then I'm going to flip you over and drop an elbow on your chest, and you can't kick out because you're done, and you can't bridge out nothing because your core is destroyed. Mayu always will answer with, I'm just going to destroy her right arm. So we're like, if she's going to eventually get up there, drop an elbow, it's going to come at a cost. In very similar to, you have messed up ribs, you hit a frog splash, you have to sell, and you can't get the pinfall because you're in so much pain. And that's always been a trade between both of them. And this was their classic story of them doing that, but with the added twist of like the brutality and the incredible selling. And like, this is the reason why I've said that like Mayu is like the best combination bumper seller I've ever seen. That right there is on display. And I mean, they just had a great match. This is their best match that I've seen them have. And like those matches that I said from 2015-17, like those are the reasons why like we're here covering this. And that's the reason why like we started covering One Nation started covering Stardom, was like going through, like watching Kyrie in NXT and hearing that there's another woman like named Mayu Iwatani and Io Shirai, and Io comes to WWE, and I'm like, all right, let me look around and see their matches, and it's being blown away from their matches with each other and their matches with Meiko Satomura, and just being like, I gotta watch this. I just gotta watch this. And like, this is what I was seeing. I don't think this isn't the best Stardom match ever or anything like that, but this is the best Kyrie match. I think it's on the top shorthand list though, but like, it felt really good to see her this weekend kind of reach back and like be the person that like I, would like go into their vault and look at and kind of be like, what was she like outside of WWE before? And just to see like the Meiko matches or the Io matches or the Mayu matches or matches with like, foreigners that like weren't all that good, but see how she could carry it in big matches and stuff, and with some of the younger wrestlers that are now more experienced and some of the best wrestlers in the world. And like, it was like, all that time away from or in WWE, like being told like less is more all the time and slow down and don't hit as hard or all this other stuff she was told like that was against her like instinctual training for what she was put through, like from Fuka and Nanai and all those other people, to see that like, ever since she first came back, you can kind of see like the physicality picked right back up. Like her first weekend back, like she did a shoot headbutt and then like ruptured her eardrum, right? But to get back to this point where it's like, oh, someone's face might get broken. Right at that point, we're back at that point now with Kyrie in the journey. So like that was really fun. And Mayu, like, she's my favorite wrestler for a reason. When back against the wall, big stakes, she does this. Rich has seen it, right? Like the 2020 series with Takumi Iroha was this. It was this level of violence. I think those matches were better than this, but still same thing. It's just she can, when she wants to like bring out like the killer super physical, this may be going beyond the pale type of thing, she can do that. And it was cool to see her dust that off because she really hasn't done that much since she lost the red belt in 2020. So I love the match and was super happy, and like for those two, I know they were happy that they could have that match with, you know, the stuff they've been able to do with each other in the past. Like, I know they told the story of Mayu never said she never liked each other. That's bullshit. They're friends. That's just, she's kayfabing to try to add to the story of like them at the end, like when they're both in tears on the floor, on the mat. Like that was to get to that point, and like it was awesome. It was one of the more emotional matches in Stardom in the last few years. It was awesome.
What do you make of the you know, there are a lot of people upset like about Mayu not being the one to get get tapped on her head for the belt.
So Waka, because look, Waka is not in Star. She is not being led by Mayu Iwatani, but she was a mess for Mayu. But yeah, I can understand the frustration of that. You know, because people have the thing about part timers, whatever else. There's also the part where like the IWGP Women's title more or less is serving the same function the SWA belt had, and Mayu relinquished that belt recently to get this, to focus on this belt, and now like she doesn't have it. So I can understand being frustrated because, like, you know, regardless of whatever Kyrie does with it, those matches are gonna be great, but like she's not as good as Mayu is. But whatever. Mayu's gonna have another run before it's all over, said and done. Like, she has a movie coming out, I think next year or 2024, so she'll have the run then. It'll be fine. Now, you know, I had to, after the match ended, like, quickly, I couldn't get to the post-match interaction between whatever Tam and Kyrie said, but, like, Tam and Kyrie, like, since the first press conference when Kyrie came back, the first person she said she wanted to face in a singles competition was Tam. So I'm interested to see that. Apparently that's on for Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, right? So yeah, Tam came out and challenged, so it is official. January 4th, the first defense of the IWGP Women's title will be Kyrie defending against Tam Nakano.
That's gonna be fun. That's the first match I wanted to see Kyrie have coming back. Like, I'm a big Tam fan because, like, Tam's my second favorite wrestler. Like, I became a fan of Tam because she reminded me so much of it, honestly, because of these two. Like, she reminds so much of Kyrie, and then, like, at the time, Tam was like this hype woman for Mayu. Like, Mayu's the greatest, she's awesome, all I want to do is be a tag team partner, she's so great. And then, like, over time as she grows, you see, like, nah, you're fucking great too. So yeah, like, it's really interesting to see, like, these two similar ages, similar sizes, similar mind or thought processes for, like, selling and putting over stuff. Like, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. Like, it's gonna, I don't think it'll be as good as this. I don't think so. Maybe we'll see. But, like, their exchange in Sumo Hall earlier this year, like, was electric in their tag match. So, like, I'm not gonna put a limit on what they could do, but, like, at the worst, it'll be great.
Yeah. So we had a few questions here. Let's answer these pretty quickly so we can get out of here. MJSPR says, how would you like to see the IWGP Women's title used? Where should it be positioned on cards? What style of matches do you expect to see?
I mean, if Kyrie has it, like, this is going to be kind of template. It's going to be emotional and physical, and, like, it's going to tell logical storytelling, logical stories, like, from point A to point B of why things hurt and why and how it progresses, whatever else. Like, she's an incredible storyteller. So that's what it's going to be while she has the belt.
Yeah, and I think, you know, having it on Wrestle Kingdom, Dominions, G1 Finals, Sakura Genesis, you have them on the big shows, and then you put them on strong, you do some strong pay-per-views. I think that's where a good spot for it to be.
I could see it like third from the top, like at certain places, maybe fourth from the top.
Yeah, I can see that.
Dark Soldier says, should Kyrie have brought in her crewmates to celebrate? She's a pirate. She also has to have a crew in her ship.
She does not have a crew as of right now. The closest thing that she has to a crew is like an assortment of friendships over time. So if you notice, like, the only person that she had at ringside with her on Sunday night was Natsupoi. Natsupoi was in a different promotion when she first started. Same for Tam. But, like, as that company was starting up, Kyrie had Natsupoi around So like there was always like a mentorship thing around. So like Natsupoi ended up but it eventually ended up in Stardom, and then Kairi came back, and it was like, oh, big homie is here, and I'm actually here now. And so they rekindled their friendship in a way. There's also as I mentioned with Tam and Kairi, like there's a mutual respect. So like Tam will accompany her every so often. And then there's also Nanae Takahashi, the first red belt champion in Stardom. She's
riding
back
on
in Stardom. Yeah, they didn't want to tag team, and they came in on Kairi's bike one time, and so people memed it up with like the Undertaker American Badass Rollin' thing. Yeah, so like a lot of the pay-per-views that Kairi's on, Nanae will also be on as well. So like there'll also be she also will accompany her or corner her at times too. So yeah, like she kind of has a loose, she doesn't have any real like strict associations or alliances, or like she's not in a faction, but she has a few friends here and there right now in Stardom.
Then moving on to the last question, because the other two questions feel like we answered. So Rambo Sad Pig says, what mixed gender tag team displayed the best chemistry at Historic Crossover?
I think it was probably Shuri and ZSJ.
You mean Julia and ZSJ?
Oh, that's what I meant. My bad.
I'll probably say Meltier, Kanemaru, and Taichi because of the stuff they set up, and then the stuff they actually pulled off in their match, and then and then the chemistry post match where like, you know, Taichi's like, you know what, you should be the first person to challenge at Wrestle Kingdom for the IWGP belt. Like storyline, all the stuff is in place like long term of sowing seeds for all of that, and then the match happened. So I'll go with them.
I'm gonna go with Hiroshi Tanahashi and Utami Hayashishita.
Their love of beating up Micah.
Their shared love of beating women. And you know.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think I'm going to go also with Julia and Zack Sabre. I felt like they gelled together really well. And I would like to see them kind of do some more stuff in the future. Well, all right, guys. That's going to wrap up our Historic Crossover pay-per-view. I guess we should all do our plugs since
you just do the plugs. I thought I ain't got to do it.
All right, so all plugs. You could follow the One Nation Radio at One Nation Radio on Twitter. Listen to them on either their solo feed or the Social Suplex Podcast Network feed. Check out their Twitch channel. You can watch their shows live stream on there. For us, you can follow the show at KI Strong Style. Of course, we drop here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Also, you can subscribe to our individual feed as well.
Pleasure being on with you guys, and looking forward to Wrestle Kingdom season.
Yeah.
New Japan's back, baby.
Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Shop JCPenney for thousands of deals solo, no coupons needed. Through Sunday, get up to 75% off fine jewelry. Bring home Cooks and Black & Decker kitchen electrics, now $22.99 plus $10 mail-in rebate. And get Memorex home electronics starting at $27.99. We got your holiday.
Shop, JCPenney.
Offers valid on select items through 11/27. Excluded from coupons. Conditions and exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Peloton's best offer of the season is here. Get up to $300 off accessories when you purchase a Peloton bike, Bike Plus, or Tread. Choose from a variety of accessories like our cycling shoes, a heart rate monitor, non-slip grip dumbbells, and more. If you've been looking for a sign to join Peloton, this offer gives you everything you need to get going. This limited time offer ends November 28th. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more. All access membership separate. Offer starts November 14th and ends November 28th. Cannot be combined with other offers. See additional terms at onepeloton.com.